Douluo, my martial spirit is a system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51 Defying-039 S Soul Ring of Chaos Martial Soul 1. The next day, the sky was still not fully lit, and a cage of stars in the distance was still hidden in the clouds. Two figures, one large and one small, walked away on the mountain road of Holy Soul Village at a not quick pace. Uncle Tang, will we come back after we get the spirit ring? Xiaosan is coming back soon. Over the past year, Fei has also adjusted his biological clock to a level that is almost in sync with crowing cocks, and he will not feel any sleepiness when he wakes up, almost no matter how early. This is not abnormal, but just a step-by-step habit. Well, if he can't even get up early, then he really can't be called working hard. I'm not coming back. I left a letter for Xiaosan. After you get the spirit ring, you will go to Wuhandian Academy non-stop. Don't worry about your qualifications. Since I said I will send you there, I will naturally have my own way. And after I send you to Wuhandian Academy, I still have my own things to do. 1 year is the deadline, and I will go back to pick you up after 1 year. It depends on you how much you can learn. Tang Heo walked slowly in front, and the surrounding darkness seemed to be devouring him step by step. Then Uncle Tang, where are we going to hunt soul beasts and find soul rings for me? Fei is still quite concerned about this, as if every soul ring has a year limit, and it cannot be surpassed. If it is surpassed, may be life-threatening. The Great Star Forest is quite a dangerous place. Tang Heo replied indifferently. Crossing Xingdao. Fei suddenly felt a feeling of extreme dizziness spread on the soles of his feet. Where is the Stardao Great Forest? Although it is said to be a place with endless opportunities, the degree of danger is self-evident. It contains stars, and the dense forest covered with everything is intertwined. I'm afraid that even the powerhouse at the title Douluo level will not dare to make trouble inside. Question mark? The age of the soul beasts there is probably terrifyingly high, like the little rabbits near the mountains, rivers, and moons, and the vortex-toothed hyenas, etc. I'm afraid they can't even be regarded as beasts of the gap-tooth level. Won't Uncle Tang tell me what that place is? Stardao Forest, that's a pretty good name, haha. Fei joked. The Great Star Forest. It doesn't make any sense to say too much. You know it's a very dangerous place. Just don't wander around, and don't release your breath casually. Just leave the rest to me. Remember this time, don't think that hunting soul beasts is a process for me to test your ability. It's just a matter of finding 2 suitable soul rings for you, and I've been thinking about your soul ring for a long time, but I can't figure it out. What kind of soul ring should I find for you to attach to your first martial soul? Let me tell you the basics of hunting spirit beasts and absorbing spirit rings first, so that you don't know how to do it when you actually meet them. Fei followed Tang Heo and listened carefully to Tang Heo's words. This was the first time in his memory that he saw Tang Heo say so many words at once. A few things you need to know. The soul beasts in Stardao Great Forest are no better than the soul beasts in other places, and I will help you find the usual soul beasts that suit you, and then you can just make up for the last blow, absorb the soul ring. In fact, there are not so many complicated things, just focus on nothing else, hold your breath, and release your own soul power to pull the soul ring. Fei nodded. Tang Heo told him a lot about soul beasts, but it was limited to what kind of soul beasts are dangerous and should not be provoked, and what kind of soul beasts should not be exterminated as much as possible. Type. Uncle Tang, what kind of soul master can I become in the future? I heard from Grandpa Jack that soul masters can be differentiated into the assault department and the auxiliary department, the agility department. Take a look at my number 1 martial soul. What type can it be? Of course, this is not what old Jack said. Fei just thought of it for a while and wanted to know what the future position of his chaotic martial soul should be like. Oh. Fei is also quite good at drawing inferences from one instance to another. Do you obtain the soul ring according to the position of your martial soul in the future? Tang Heo said lightly. but Ji-Fei was a little surprised. Can the soul ring be related to the positioning of the martial soul? This is natural, just like a martial spirit of the assault type. To obtain a spirit ring, no matter what type of spirit it is, of course the first thing to choose is to increase the strength of the spirit ring, and then consider some auxiliary spirit rings type, such as a soul ring that applies the range of attack force. I see. Ji-Fei nodded understandingly. As for what path you can take, I actually can't think of it. After all, you can obtain the martial soul incarnation of other people or soul beasts through contact with soul power. You can think that you are the type of omniscience and omnipotence. As long as the martial soul is fully, you can assist, attack, control, and attack sensitively, and it is precisely because of this that I can't figure out what type of soul ring you should get. You can't just absorb the soul ring of the limit year, but also you come to find a soul ring with excellent attributes. Is it the limit year? Ji-Fei was taken aback. This concept was not proposed by Tang San's master, right? It should be said that he has delved deeper than others on this road, and he can tell exactly how many years he has studied. Well, I'm going to find you one that is infinitely close to 1,000 years for your first martial soul, but the 1,000-year soul ring is also under consideration, although the limit of the first martial soul should be 100 years, but you are completely different, Tang Heo said lightly. What? Uncle Tang, don't make fun of my life, okay? You just said that if you fail to absorb the martial soul that has exceeded the age, you will explode and die. You are talking about the first soul. The limit of the ring is hundreds of years, and at the same time, it is said that my first soul ring should absorb the 1,000 years. Isn't that just pushing me into the pit of fire? Ji-Fei said bitterly. There are several reasons. First, your innate full soul power has reached level, so your ability to withstand it is naturally stronger. Besides, have you been exercising all this year in vain? Is eating so good also in vain? Isn't your physique still strong? Question mark? Don't tell me that all you eat is whitening food. Secondly, your second martial soul will help you to a certain extent when you absorb the soul ring, which will leak some of your own second martial soul's breath, and reducing the power of the soul ring is also the most normal thing. Third, I also said that there are two choices for you. One is the ultimate 100-year spirit ring. If you can't absorb the 1,000-year spirit ring, then for your safety, you can only choose the second best. But you have to know well, the gap between 1,000 years and the limit of 100 years is not a little bit. If you want to become stronger, then choose to work harder to absorb a higher quality 1,000-year spirit ring. When Tang Heo said this, Ji-Fei himself felt a little relieved. Yes, if he couldn't absorb the 1,000-year level soul ring that Tang Heo said, he could take the next best thing, to absorb the limit of a century-old soul ring. But is Ji-Fei the kind of person who will easily give up the best and blindly choose the second best without trying? Obviously, it will definitely not be like this. Since it is a big event that only happens once in a lifetime, then we naturally have to choose the best one, and even if it doesn't work, we have to try it. Sorry, Uncle Tang, aren't we going to the Star Forest? Why are we here at the market? Do we have to have a meal first? This relationship is good, and I happen to be a little hungry too. Ji-Fei and Tang Heo actually chatting unknowingly came to this market. The sky has not yet cleared up, so there are almost no people in the market, let alone food stalls. What to eat? Just buy some dry food. Is it possible to walk to the Stardow Forest without renting a car? Hurry up, you go rent a car. Tang Heo leaned against a tree and faced Ji-Fei said. Rent a car to the Stardow Great Forest? Who would dare to do this job? Ji-Fei said to himself, but there was no other way. Tang Heo spoke up. So he had to find a place to rent a car. Fly. Maybe this is not the world of cultivating immortals, and titled Douluo can't fly. Maybe Tang Heo is too lazy to fly, and wants to see the customs along the way. End of this chapter. Chapter 52 GFEIN-039, S Soul Ring of Chaos Martial Soul, 2. This driver really dared to ask for it. He just opened his mouth, and got a gold soul coin. I'm really convinced. If you say go to the Stardow Forest, isn't it just that the distance is longer, it's more dangerous, and it takes a long time? That's all. He actually opened his mouth to get a golden soul coin, although little Douluo does not lack this golden soul coin, but I'm really convinced. Sitting in the carriage, Fei opened his mouth and began to complain. Of course, when he told Tang Heo that the car rental price was 1 gold soul coin, Tang Heo just nodded indifferently, as if it was a normal price. After all, the journey is far away. I'm afraid it won't arrive in more than 10 days. Moreover, such carriage drivers are almost ordinary people who specialize in sports cars, and the family relies on this job for their livelihood. Hearing such a long distance and the danger of going to the Stardow forest, the two of them would probably shudder. Sitting in the carriage is quite safe, and this carriage can be regarded as carefully selected by Fei. First of all, this carriage has a sound insulation function that other carriages do not have, and according to what the driver said, the speed of this carriage is extremely fast. If it takes more than 10 days to travel to the Stardow Great Forest, it will take at most a week to get there in his car. Although sitting in such a carriage does not feel violent bumps, the touch and shaking caused by the forward movement can't help but make people drowsy. Tang Heo closed his eyes and didn't know if he was asleep or thinking. What? But it is novel for Fei to open the small curtain on the side from time to time to look at the house leaping and receding with few trees. This is his first real close contact with this world called Douluo Continent. Although he can't understand all kinds of customs, he still has a general understanding. In fact, it is not much different from the previous life. Hundreds of miles are different. Fei, don't use your package in the future. Here is this for you. Not long after, Tang Heo's hand turned around, disturbing Fei who was watching outside. Fei turned his head and saw a delicate ring lying flat in Tang Heo's hand and handed it to his side. This ring is neither too big nor too small, with a tinge of crystal lavender all over the body, and the lower ring is made of a special silver material, and the most delicate and beautiful part at a glance is this ring. The round jade-like thing inlaid on the ring. In the middle are 7 special jade stones of different colors, which are about the size of ants, and are surrounded by protruding rings. The structure other than the jade stones is like an open lotus flower. There are 10 sections on each water chestnut leaf, and 10 jade stones of different colors are inlaid on them. Moreover, these 10 small jade stones seem to have engraved with handwriting. Oh, thank you, Uncle Tang. Fei didn't ask what it was, or what it was for, but he had a familiar feeling, and a strong sense of belonging just after entering it. It's as simple as this ring belongs to me, but a real sense of belonging. You don't need to thank me, this belongs to you in the first place. I just hand him over to you now. This is what your mother left you. The last few simple words shocked Fei who had just received the ring. Mother, what a familiar yet unfamiliar word. The ring, which was delicate enough to shock the heavenly man, calmed down his originally agitated heart in an instant like the cold feeling, and the lavender ring on the whole body gave people a feeling as if it was a world away. My mother. Fei didn't continue. He knew that, even if he asked Tang Heo, he wouldn't tell him anything. How can I tell you about this ring? This ring is called Kai King. It is something left to you by your mother. If there are 2 functions, it should be a symbol of status, and the other is a storage ring. The function of the object, you don't need to care about the former. This storage is a simple and literal meaning, storing items. The 7 emotions can store living and dead objects. I don't know how big the built-in space is. You just drop your own blood on it. Tang Heo pointed to the large purple jade surrounded by the 7 jade stones in the Kai King ring with his finger. The inside of this purple jade was very turbid, unlike the other jade stones that were crystal clear and transparent. I don't know what the person who forged this ring thought, but such a perfect ring actually has such shortcomings, and is so perfect that it can be presented in the eyes of anyone who sees it. Without further ado, Fei concentrated his soul power on his nails. His thumbnails were like a sharp blade across his index finger in an instant, and a drop of dark red blood dripped onto the middle part of the 7 emotions ring, and then did not solidify on the jade. Instead, it slowly invaded into it, but with the blink of an eye, it was directly submerged in it. And the ring of 7 emotions seemed to have a sliver of its own life and wisdom, and it landed directly on Fei's index finger, and the originally open ring suddenly shrank, as if to fit Fei's slender index finger. Fei looked at the Kai King ring in surprise. Can this ring stretch freely? It's really a strange existence. Could this be a soul tool? It seems a bit wrong. This ring seems to need a specific blood approval to be used. This ring of 7 emotions is also very simple to use. Using soul power should be able to open the storage space in it, and then you can pack all your miscellaneous things into it. This ring of 7 emotions, it seems that there are not many people you know anymore, and you don't have to worry about being stolen or robbed. It belongs to you, and it can only belong to you. Are you very confused? Why is the shape and structure of this ring so unique? Tang Heo looked at Fei and said. Fei nodded. Although it looked extremely glamorous, this ring definitely had its own story and special significance. It symbolizes many things. It is the rise of an era and the decline of an era. In the future, you will understand the meaning of the 7 emotions inside and the 10 luo outside. Fei nodded intentionally or unintentionally. These are too far away and too awkward for him. Don't think too much. Anyway, keep your eyes firm, because next you will get your first and second prizes in the Star Forest. Second martial soul. And when Tang Heo and Fei were in the great forest of thousands of stars, the existence similar to the undercurrent seemed to start to surge. Douluo Continent, an unknown place. A pair of blood-colored eyes opened completely. It stared at a round ring on the index finger of his slender hand and suddenly grinned. A trace of faint blood slowly flowed out of the open white teeth. The scarlet tongue subconsciously licked the lips. After waiting for so long, it's finally here, and I'm about to start working. After simply saying a few words, this existence suddenly turned into a puddle of blood and disappeared in place. Maybe it died, or disappeared, or went to some unreachable distance. The dream went to the end of the world with a sword. But after carefully recalling this existence just now, there seems to be a word engraved on the index fingering on his hand. 3. As for the color of the jade ring on this hand, after all, it passed by in a flash and I didn't notice it. End of this chapter. Chapter 53 GFEIN-039 S Soul Ring of Chaos Martial Soul 3. Along the way, Fei has been learning to use the Ring of 7 Emotions in his hand. This thing is very delicate, and it needs to inject soul power into the inner space to truly open the inner space. Fei estimated that the space inside the Ring of 7 Emotions is enough to hold many wine jars, and the storage space is divided according to the interior, exterior, and extension. Indeed, as Tang Heo said, it is very easy to store things in the future with this thing. At least you don't need to rent a car or the like to transport them back because of the large quantity. Uncle Tang, shall we go directly to the Stardow Forest? Don't we need to go to the nearby cities to buy some necessary supplies? Fei looked at the last city that was abandoned far away and belonged to the nearby Stardow Forest, and his heart arose. Doubt. No need. Tang Heo simply answered 3 words and remained silent. After 5 or 6 days of journey, the coachman driving the carriage told Fei and Tang Heo that they needed to go for the next journey, and that the next journey was to truly step into the boundary of the Stardow Great Forest now. Ordinary coachmen like them who drive a carriage don't dare to go deeper. Fei originally wanted to complain a few words, but after thinking about it, let's forget it. It's not easy. At least this coachman is not the epitome of his previous life. Looking at the messy flying grass on the vast plain in front of him, and the desolate people around him, Fei was a little dazed. How close is this place to the Star Forest? This is completely out of reach, right? Does the coachman really know the way? Tang Heo on the side didn't say anything, just walked slowly in front of him. Suddenly, Tang Heo seemed to have thought of something, and suddenly 2 small masks appeared in his backhand, and he took one and handed it to him. Fei's hand. Bringing it on. Although the Stardow Great Forest is vast and boundless, you might meet someone you don't want to meet. This mask will be a very good way to cover your eyes. Fei took the mask in his hand and turned his mouth to look at the mask in his hand. The delicate pattern was outlined on the white mask, but he felt that he couldn't appreciate it. What the combination of black and white produces is not beauty but something else. A visual impact. Putting on the mask casually, a feeling of cutting off the field of vision hits, but it's not that you can't see the way ahead, it's just that it's more or less useless. After walking for several hours, Fei saw groups of several people approaching from opposite sides of them one after another. Some of them were embarrassed, but they could see the excitement on their faces, and there were those who entered the distant Stardao forest similarly to Jifei. Their faces were full of excitement and fear. Don't worry, it's good if you stay by my side. We are not in a hurry to find your soul ring slowly, and we will make a comprehensive and rational judgment. Tang Heo's humming and deep voice sounded from Jifei's ear. It is the effect produced after wearing a mask. Although Jifei's voice added a sense of vicissitudes, the overall immaturity still contained in it. Yes. Although Jifei and Tang Heo walked slowly, their real speed was very fast, and after walking for an unknown number of miles, Jifei and Tang Heo also passed a small town. The town is much more prosperous than some cities. Although the style is somewhat depressing, it is still a place of geomantic omen. Tang Heo did not choose to stay for this reason, but took Jifei straight through the town and continued to go deeper. Uncle Tang, won't you tell me the story of the Star Forest? Feeling that the journey is very monotonous, and with the deepening, the number of trees that Jifei saw with his eyes gradually increased. A row of towering trees in no order were lush and luxuriant, wrapped in coldness and freshness. When it was really cold, when the wind blew in the forest, Jifei couldn't help but start to shiver all over and subconsciously stretched out his hands to wrap his clothes. The Great Star Forest. Didn't I tell you about it a long time ago? It's a very dangerous place. Tang Heo is still wearing the huge loose robe, which looks so thin, but Tang Heo doesn't seem to be able to perceive it. Any coldness may be due to profound soul power or special abilities. Jifei was a little embarrassed. Uncle Tang, I'm talking about something deeper. I told you the essence. Tang Heo replied lightly. Well, Jifei is dizzy. I can't talk anymore for the day. I'd better follow Tang Heo honestly. If I didn't have little Douluo and Kiking Ring to pass the time along the way, I would be really depressed. Died. Little Douluo, do you feel that in addition to the cold breath, there are other special feelings that go deeper and deeper? Jifei asked, looking at Douluo who was sitting on his shoulder. Douluo blinked her small eyes, and the hazy green halo on her body was reflected in the white hood. Well, there is such a feeling, a very comfortable feeling. Jifei joked, it seems that this may be the best place for the two of us to choose to retire in the future. How about it? Think about it. You have a good idea. I really didn't expect that my respected master would have such a collapse of thought. Luo looked at Jifei with a little contempt. Hey, what you said is wrong. This is how long the relationship will last, okay? Jifei restrained the scattered look just now, and I really have a special sense of attachment to you. Luo's pretty face flushed slightly. Although the owner was sometimes out of shape, it really made people feel extremely at ease when he was serious. Under the mask, Jifei's expression was pretentious, and a slightly vicissitudes voice sounded. Think about it. Douluo simply answered him. I'll be where you are. Jifei smiled in relief. Tang Heo in front of him suddenly stopped walking forward, and Jifei's gaze gradually moved away from the original close-up to where he could see it. The nearby trees are absolutely towering, and the surrounding bushes are isolated one by one, as if they are surrounded by green thick walls, and the nearby ones seem to be a dividing line. This side is an unusual place, and after crossing this invisible line in front of him, he will enter a place that can make all soul masters fear. Stardao Great Forest. The Great Star Forest is ahead. Remember what I told you before. Tang Heo turned around, and a low voice sounded, but he didn't know what the expression was like under the mask. Jifei said with an old-fashioned look, this is a very dangerous place. Tang Heo nodded. That's right, it's very dangerous. Do you still know the division of soul beasts that I told you earlier? 10-year soul beasts with white soul power, 10-year soul beasts with yellow soul power, 1000-year soul beasts with purple soul power, year soul beasts with black soul power, year soul beasts with red soul power. Jifei replied roughly. And what I want to tell you is that when we step into the Stardao Great Forest, that foot may land on the territory of a 10,000-year-old soul beast, or on the territory that two 10,000-year-old soul beasts have been fighting for. Do you know what this is telling you? Tang Heo said. Jifei said unhurriedly, it's very dangerous here. It's good to know. Follow me closely. Let's go. Tang Heo turned around and stepped over the invisible line. Ji-Fei shook his head helplessly. Oh, it seems that, if you want to learn the knowledge of soul masters, you really have to go to the Wuhandian Academy to study, and what Uncle Tang teaches is only danger, very dangerous, and completing tasks and so on. Well, it's good to develop strength, but it's really not enough to really analyze the battle situation. Alas, perhaps this is the temporary training that geniuses need to face. End of this chapter. Chapter 54 GFEIN-039 S Soul Ring of Chaos Martial Soul 4. The vastness of the Stardow Forest gives people a visual impact. This is accompanied by Ji-Fei's intuitive feeling. It seems that every step he takes can release a terrifying pressure to penetrate into the body. But when this terrifying aura of coercion reaches its extreme, it will suddenly give birth to a warm and intimate feeling that penetrates into your body, eliminating the feeling of terror that you just gave birth to. This kind of subtle power is really singular. Although the layout of the entire Stardow Great Forest doesn't look like a maze, it really does look like it's not clear and clear. Ji-Fei can still feel a sense of security when he follows Tang Heo. The dense bushes are undoubtedly blocking the ground. Tang Heo in front of him just walked like this, and the tall bushes around him crawled down in an instant. Ji-Fei was shocked when he saw it, and secretly thought that it should be the power of the soul power. Stepping on such a thick bush, Ji-Fei couldn't help but feel more at ease, but he didn't have the fear that a terrible soul beast would suddenly come out, or jump out, when he walked through the bushes just now, and so on, so that he didn't get the soul ring, but was frightened and fainted by himself. Although Tang Heo didn't tell Ji-Fei too much, he also knew that this place was extremely dangerous. Subconsciously, Ji-Fei tightened the string in his heart, forcing himself to know that this place is not that simple. You must know, you must know. Ji-Fei can feel that the degree to which his soul power is solidified is very terrifying. This is due to a year's accumulation of accumulation, and it is also due to his innate full soul power of level. As for why he has a soul power of level at the 10th level, Ji-Fei didn't really understand it, so he thought it was caused by the wonder of his first martial soul. As for the power of the second martial soul, Ji-Fei didn't even have a glimpse of it. Don't dare to imagine. After all, Tang Heo told himself very early and many times, Ji-Fei was still fantasizing about getting his first and second soul rings together, and what would these two soul rings be like? What would Tang Heo look for in the first soul ring for him? The ultimate century-old soul ring, or are you directly looking for a millennium level for yourself? Soon, Ji-Fei was disturbed by Tang Heo's come soul beast, and disrupted his thoughts just now, and suddenly came back to his senses. Ji-Fei looked at the clusters of things similar to muses he gathered in front of him. Things suddenly froze. These are balls that are bent like wooden branches. Each one is almost the size of an adult's head, and they seem to be able to move according to the power brought by the breeze or the kick of the spirit beast of withered wood vines. It should be a 10-year type wood type soul beast. In fact, it can't be called a soul beast. It should be called a special plant. Tang Heo's voice sounded slowly, looking at the bunch of dead wood vines in front of him. Tang Heo chose to avoid the established route, and did not start to disturb these sleeping dead wood vines. Ji-Fei felt a little funny looking at these so-called soul beasts. These plants can be called soul beasts, but since they have years, and have weak soul power, they can naturally be called soul beasts. Soul beast. Uncle Tang, can this dead wood vine be used as a soul ring for people? It looks like dead wood. Can it have offensive power? Ji-Fei hurriedly followed Tang Heo in front, and asked at the same time. Tang Heo replied, there is no attack power, but the dead wood vine has a characteristic, that is, it reproduces quickly, and is very hard. If an ordinary plant type spirit absorbs such a high-year dead wood vine, it will roughly those who can obtain a high probability of increasing the hardness of the plant martial soul may also obtain soul skills such as parasitic. Uncle Tang, I want to try the magical effect of my first martial soul, can I? Ji-Fei glanced at Tang Heo, then pointed at the dead wood and vine just now. His thoughts were self-evident. Tang Heo was taken aback. I actually forgot the ability of your first martial soul. Go ahead. Although you may not have any strong attack power, after you have the withered wood 2 and vine, it seems to be a special binding martial arts soul. Ji-Fei nodded. Although the martial soul absorbed in this way cannot be used alone to apply a soul ring, it should be able to share the soul ring with his Chaos Lord martial soul. As for how different martial souls can be shared, who knows what kind of soul skill it is. Only after obtaining the first soul ring can one gradually get a glimpse of its deep magical effect. Fei squatted down and stretched out his hand. He is not like before. To use the martial soul, he still needs a specific hand to release it. The martial souls on both hands can be used together or replaced. Anyway, whichever hand is comfortable to use can be used. The texture is firm. This was Fei's first special feeling when he touched the dead wood vine, and Fei didn't say a word. The first martial spirit, chaos, condensed in his palm. The vein was still extremely delicate. It seems that there is such a special attraction. Fei circulated his soul power and sent a section of the withered tree vine into the mouth of Chaos Martial Soul. The chaotic villain opened his mouth expressionlessly and swallowed the section of the withered tree vine, but in the blink of an eye, the chaotic little the person suddenly opened his small hand, and two groups of black and white hazy air began to gather in the palm, and the opened fresh branches slowly coiled into a dead wood and vine. And Fei opened his other hand, and suddenly, a phantom of a dead wood and vine martial soul appeared in his hand. After a while, Fei put away both of them, turned around and walked towards Tang Heo. The face under the mask smiled slightly. Uncle Tang, well, now I'm also the one who owns the withered wood vine, but I don't have any soul skills, and I can't apply any soul rings. I can only look at it after I put the soul ring on the chaotic martial soul. What kind of mutation effect will it produce? This deadwood vine is similar to Xiaozin's blue silver grass. It can be stretched out or made into a ball, and its hardness is also very hard, at least many times stronger than hemp rope. Tang Heo didn't know what his face looked like under the mask. He nodded. Let's go deeper. I also want to see what kind of strange spirits these absorbed spirits will have after your main spirit obtains the spirit ring change. Tang Heo turned around and continued to go deeper into it. Fei also nodded. The feeling of eager anticipation in his heart was definitely stronger than anyone else's. After all, the magical effect of the Chaos Martial Soul he controlled was more than that. Tomorrow, words, today is, words, although tomorrow's draft has also been written. Poor. Maybe tomorrow will be more exciting, but I feel that the day after tomorrow will be even more exciting. Don't you expect it? The first soul ring is very powerful. There is also a special thing that will be presented, a very important thing that Tang San has, and my family Fei must also have it. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55 Izanami, Son of the Underworld. Uncle Tang, when are we going to transfer here? Although our physical fitness is quite good, no one can stand this constant spinning around in place. Fei pinched his ankles, looked at the familiar yet disgusting trees lined up in front of him, and instantly felt as if he was falling asleep on the ground. Fei, who was walking around, suddenly realized that he and Tang Heo were actually spinning around all the time. Axie, in the dense forest, it was impossible to see where the sun in the sky shifted. Tang Heo stood in front. His expression under the mask was unknown. He slowly raised his hand, unexpectedly, really did not expect that his majestic Heoshan Douluo actually walked into the Star Dao Dao. Getting lost in the deeper parts of the forest is a real belly laugh, but it's a serious problem right now. What are you complaining about? Don't you feel weird? Obviously we are walking along the same road, and all the grass in front of me is overwhelmed by me, but you see, every time we come back, the grass has recovered. Tang Heo's deep voice sounded. But Uncle Tang, look, this is the punctuation I made. The punctuation is still here, to show that we are really back, and not deeper. Fei pointed to a deep tree on the side scratches. In fact, he felt something was wrong a long time ago. Oh, no, it was Douluo who felt something was wrong a long time ago. Although the trees around here grow very differently, the breath left after people walked by is not so fast it will be eliminated. And Douluo also feels that something is wrong here because she smelled the special breath of Ji-Fei. After he passed by, Tang Heo turned around and looked at the mark on the tree trunk. He was a little confused for a while. A soul power surged in his thick palm. Suddenly, for some reason, the soul power just condensed. Was like a swaying. The fiasco was like a candle, but the skill disappeared in the blink of an eye. So that's how it is, Tang Heo said. What do you mean? Ji-Fei was stunned for a moment. Uncle Tang, can we explain clearly? Why do I feel that the surroundings have suddenly become a little gloomy? Ji-Fei watched the dark green trees and bushes around him gradually turn into a horrible scene, as if being gradually swallowed up by invisible darkness. Although the expression under the mask was still calm, it couldn't be calmer anymore. We should be in the territory of a special spirit beast now. No, it should be said that we stepped into the territory of this special spirit beast very early, and it uses a special power to arrange it's similar to a real illusion that surrounds us. Do you know how I can see this? Tang Heo still didn't forget some special knowledge points of Ji-Fei, who was examination for an old man. Ji-Fei recalled for a moment. Soul power. If the illusion you said, Uncle Tang, is real, then the symbol I carved on this tree should be money transformed from illusion. But Uncle Tang, you just released it. Your soul power suddenly disappeared, so it can only mean that the illusion we are in now cannot imitate your soul power, so the soul power will disappear, and therefore, Uncle Tang, you will come to such a conclusion. Tang Heo nodded. That's right, that's the principle, but where is this thing now? Do you know how to use illusions to surround soul masters? It seems that the spiritual intelligence is not low. Something scary is approaching this way. Luo, who was sitting on Ji-Fei's shoulder, said suddenly. Oh. Ji-Fei looked at the surging black boundary in the distance, and it seemed that something was really beating. On the other side, Tang Heo also suddenly yelled at Ji-Fei. Xiao Fei, come here quickly, something is approaching us. It should be the soul beast that arranged this illusion. It seems to be impatient. Stop, be careful. The soul beast that can arrange such an illusion is probably not a simple existence. Ji-Fei hurriedly approached Tang Heo, and at the same time, the first chaotic martial spirit was released, and a pure white vein stood in Ji-Fei's palm. With just one thought, Ji-Fei was sure that he could display the vortex teeth, the possession of the hyena beast spirit, even that whole card that I don't want to expose now. After all, life saving is the most important thing. Only by living can we take the next step, and if we die, we will lose everything. Thrust, rustle. The sound of lightly touching the leaves sounded, and Ji-Fei swallowed subconsciously. Although he wasn't that flustered, he was still a little nervous. The terrifying power seemed to envelope him, and Tang Heo not far away. The leaves are like a silent gap. Although it can be vaguely judged that the location of this unknown existence should be directly in front, it is absolutely impossible to make such an easy decision. Even Tang Heo took a while to see the existence of the predicament. How could it be simple? What about soul beasts? This looks. Ji-Fei was startled by the sudden sound from Luo on her shoulder, as if Luo could clearly see the appearance of the person coming from the bushes. Luo, what does it look like? Tell me about it. Ji-Fei took this opportunity to first understand what this unknown soul beast looks like, at least for a while, so that he can use his hands according to his body shape. What further judgment? Like you? No, it's just you. Luo gave such a strange answer. It's not right, although it looks like you, but it doesn't have the comfortable aura that you have. Ah, like me. Ji-Fei tried hard to open his eyes, wanting to see what the mysterious existence that was walking slowly or moving at extreme speed in the depths was. Luo suddenly said at this moment, "This is wrong, very wrong." The voice became louder and louder, and this time Ji-Fei could clearly hear that the source of the voice was from the front, and the aura of Tang Heo, who was blocking the front, also became serious. His eyes through the mask were icy and frosty, and mixed with Ling Ran's chill. The mysterious existence finally appeared, and she lifted the thick grass in front of her, and finally saw what the real face of the comer was like. Ji-Fei was stunned for a moment. When he heard that voice, he felt the hairs all over his body burst. He looked at the green radish on his shoulder, and then at the man standing beside the grass not far away. That mysterious existence suddenly, Ayan, Tang Heo's hoarse and slightly crying voice, standing in front of him, rang out. The terrifying aura in his whole body instantly dissipated into nothingness, and the endless frost in his eyes also turned into a spring breeze. Warm. In? Isn't that my Douluo? Ji-Fei looked at the woman in front of him. End of this chapter. Chapter 56 Izanami, the son of underworld from hell. Ji-Fei stared in astonishment at the girl in the blue gauze standing not far away. She seemed to be not so much taller than Ji-Fei. Her immature and fair skin seemed to be formed by the condensation of dew from the sky. The long jet black hair was scattered on the shoulders of the waterfall, and the soft green eyes glowed with a strange halo. He slowly raised his slender fingers, then pointed towards Ji-Fei, and then pointed at Ji-Fei. When Fei was at a loss, the woman walked over slowly. Luo, isn't this you? Ji-Fei said. Isn't it you I was looking at? Luo said at the same time. But Tang Heo's side is completely different. He saw the silver-haired woman in front of him slowly approaching him. She wore a light blue gauze dress, and still had the familiar tender eyes. The light blue halo made him feel familiar, reassured and happy. Yin, is that you? Tang Heo slowly took off the mask he put on his face that was not angry and arrogant. Now there are only 2 lines of tears slowly sliding down. Your red and swollen eyes seem to have thousands of words and grievances to want tell. Compared to King Ming, Ji-Fei knew that this was definitely weird. Little Luo was standing on his shoulders now, but the woman in front of him was really beautiful. Hehe. Crack. And when Ji-Fei continued to fantasize, he suddenly felt a small hand slapping him hard on the face, and Ji-Fei, who felt the pain, looked at Luo and saw Luo's fluttering little hand. Face spat and scolded. What are you thinking? Huh? Oh, I was wrong. I was thinking wrong. I was just thinking about what the hell this thing is, and I actually imitated the overall charm of my little Luo. HMPH. What I see is your wretched luck like a big pig's hooves. Luo clapped her little hands and looked at Ji-Fei with contempt. Hee, how are you all? The woman who looked like a green radish spoke slowly, but Tang Heo only saw the woman who looked like iron in his mouth speak slowly. You. Suddenly, Tang Heo seemed to have expected something. Is it an illusion? Tang Heo didn't try to hide the lonely and painful expression on his face. He just raised his hand and slowly put the mask in his hand back on his face. I'm Izanami. How are you? Do you think I'm beautiful? Do you want to play with me? The teaching woman didn't make any gestures, but just raised her hands to hold her Ji-Fei and Tang Heo, son of the underworld. Izanami. Tang Heo didn't indulge in the appearance of the woman in front of him again, but kept re-examining the terrifying existence in front of him who called himself Izanami. Hee, so you know me. Izanami is the name I inherited from my mother. Today is the first time I come out of the underworld. I want to find people to play with and take them to the underworld as a guest, but I need one. Which one of you two will go with me? Underworld is beautiful, with tall skulls and pillars made of various tall spines, covered with a leather dome. And Fei? Tang Heo turned his eyes to look at Ji-Fei. Only half of Ji-Fei's face was red and swollen, and he didn't even dare to take a look at the woman in front of him. At this moment, Ji-Fei said, Little Lulu, I don't dare to think about it anymore, so please stop hitting me, okay? My face is swollen. HMPH. Luo pouted angrily. Go and chop her up. Anyway, I saw him look like you, a wretched big pig's hoof, and hacked him to death. Fei, this is a soul beast named Izanami. It is said that they are nobles from hell in the underworld. They have many special abilities. It is only one of them to create a special illusion. Look at her. Does she look like a white-haired woman? Ji-Fei shook his head, but he didn't say who he saw. After all, little Luo is not easy to provoke. Now he doesn't even have the courage to describe what is wrong or even to see what Izanami is. This is another scary thing about Izanami. She doesn't have a specific skin covering her body. When you see her, she will automatically transform into the appearance that you only care about the person you want the most. And this appearance will always be maintained. It seems that this Izanami should be a transitional existence from childhood to adulthood. She should have a 1000-year level. Although she is a 1000-year level, she is considered a 10,000-year level because of her own speciality. None of the soul beasts can compare to her value. Tang Heo's words suddenly became serious. Fei, do you have the courage to make her your first soul ring. Maybe you can also have an Izanami martial soul. The most terrifying thing about Izanami is that she can control the spiritual power invisibly and make you the closest existence to other people's most longed for fantasy, and she has the hardest restraint method and the most terrifying claws enough to tear apart any space in the ground. Xiaofei? Xiaofei? Why are you smirking? Are you listening to me? Tang Heo frowned slightly under the mask. Could it be that this kid also has someone he really wants? Obviously have been staying in the village since childhood. Could it be the little girl in the village? Douluo, hehe, you said you saw me too. Hehe, hehe, hehe. Jifei gradually came to his senses as he looked at Douluo, who lowered his head and blushed when, Uncle Tang, it's nothing. I just felt a little bit emotional that there are such terrifying soul beasts in this world. Izanami can no longer be regarded as a soul beast at the level known by the Soul Master. It is correct to say that it is a product of the next level. How about it? Do you have confidence? Tang Heo shook his head and said, Jifei said, it is said that their coming of age ceremony is to go to our world to find a friend and then bring them back to make friends. Isn't it good to make friends and communicate with each other? Isn't that a good thing? Jifei asked. Tang Heo shook his head when he heard the words. Indeed, if they simply make friends, they are naturally friendly, but they do not make friends for communication, but for torture. According to legend, Huangquan is located under the ground, and there is no poison in it. Exhausted, and people like Izanami are female type existences. Compared with the powerful ones that control mental power, there is also a devil type soul beast that controls power, named Izanaki. They're powerful, even stronger than soul beasts with dragon bloodlines for some reasons. Torture? Jifei muttered to himself. The so-called torture is very simple. They will treat you as a container for feeding poison. When your body is full of poison and your consciousness is still clear, they will dance with you. Your roaring and howling sound is the accompaniment. And this is a soul beast banquet that is enough to make the whole of Huangquan happy. And after the banquet, you yourself will become the biggest cake, a cake full of poisonous insects, which is called a coming of age ceremony. Jifei felt a little uncomfortable in his stomach, and his body was itchy. Isn't this too heavy? Although we are soul beasts, we can't invent these things, right? You call this making friends? Don't you treat your friends like a meal on a plate and a bar in a glass? Jifei looked at Izanami, who was slowly walking over, and he was touched by the beautiful appearance of the green rose. How could he do it? The green dill is so cute. How can you beat the green dill? And if it becomes a soul ring, it still has to be killed. She's not me. Why do you have to think so much about it? Things with bones and raw skin are disgusting to look at. If there were no other people around, I would go up and kill her myself, and she came out with my appearance to bluff. When Jifei heard this, he felt a terrifying cold aura surging from his shoulders. This is the feeling that, if you dare to say no, you will be slapped. That's right, the bone is raw skin, the skin has turned color. Am I thinking too much? Jifei muttered to himself. Bah. You're just a hooligan. Douluo spat. Playing hooligans is only playing with you. Do you want me to look at other people? Jifei retorted directly. HMPH. I hope the same in the future. Otherwise. At some point in Douluo's hand, two combined green halos suddenly appeared, gradually turning into a pair of scissors. Crack, click. Jifei shook his head abruptly and quickly looked at Tang Heo. Uncle Tang, kill. Hurry up. You kill or I kill. Let's hurry up. Tang Heo nodded. Izanami is not easy to deal with, and I'm the existence she transformed. Although I know it was transformed by her, but Xiaofei, Uncle Tang, I believe you can solve this Izanami. Xianami, don't forget, you are born with a soul power of level, and your first martial spirit is so miraculous, you must be able to deal with this Izanami, right? If you really can't beat me, I will also shoot, but at least you can force her back to her original appearance. Return to the original appearance? Jifei knew it. This is to drive the ducks to the shelves. Can he solve it? Subconsciously looking at Izanami, who has already thought about the deep hands. The overall eerie feeling of terror pours into the body along every pore of Jifei's body. What the hell are we afraid of? Even though we only have less than 7, she is a young man. But she is also a time traveler in the new era. And she keeps saying, fuck her. Crack. Douluo suddenly raised her hand and said, what? What are you doing? It's killing. Hunting to make a soul ring. Fei felt aggrieved. This Douluo was less and less docile than before. Sat, pitiful. Do you want to be friends with me? A light and hollow voice sounded next to Fei's ear. Looking up, it was Douluo's voice, but the source was Izanami. I'll be your old mother. Fei suddenly raised his fist and slammed it into Izanaki's face. It's all because you slapped me. Today I have to take off your clothes. Skin. It's skin. End of this chapter. Chapter 57. Izanami, the son of underworld from hell. 2. Boom. Fei was possessed by the hyena martial soul in an instant, and the hair attached to his body extended to his hands at the same time, and powerful forces continuously hit his palms. Fei was not afraid of whether Izanami's body was poisonous, so he went up tightening the soul power as such a straight fist. Izanami didn't have any chance to dodge the sudden onslaught of punches. Anyway, she directly met Fei's full strength punch. She stepped back suddenly, and her originally beautiful face seemed to gradually become hideous. Get up, and in Fei's eyes, the soft and beautiful green radish skin begins to collapse. Aren't you going to be friends with me? Izanami covered her face with her hands, and the skin that collapsed around her revealed sections of dark bones, which were boneless. Be friends? Fei looked at Izanami's skin gradually peeling off, and gradually exposed the black bones and empty internal organs. Perhaps there is only one piece of clothing covering this skeleton now, right? Tang Heo also sighed a little, while watching Izanami, who was gradually turning into a black skeleton. You think too much. Who will be your friend? I don't want to go to Huangquan to make your coming of age cake. If you don't have any special thoughts and goals, I don't mind being friends with you, but now I can't accept you the reason for my own impure motives. There is another point, that you are going to become my soul ring. Uncle Tang, since this Izanami is a soul beast, does she have any weaknesses that can quickly eliminate her? Fei asked Tang Heo, who was on the side. Tang Heo shook his head. The legend goes back to the legend that no one has ever seen the real Izanami make a move, because those who saw Izanami made a move were either dragged into the underworld or turned into wild corpses. So powerful? Even a soul master can't handle such an existence that hasn't passed adulthood. Uncle Tang, do you want to take action on her now that she has become like this? Under the mask, Fei was a little hesitant. This Izanami seemed to be that kind of pervert. It was really not easy to do it without even a soul skill, and only had to add a martial soul. Izanami Tang Heo said that she was almost at the millennium level, and it was even more difficult to handle it. I believe in you. I will help you when you are in a desperate situation. And what is your means? Use all your strength to hunt and kill this Izanami. Looking at Tang Heo, who seemed to be indifferent, Fei's face under the mask became extremely gloomy in an instant, and it was really difficult to handle it now. Blue silver grass. Now. Withered wood and vines. Now. Worst toothed hyena. Possessed. The chaos villain in his hand. Summon 3 different martial spirits in succession, and then directly attach them to Fei's body. At this moment, Fei's feet were crawling with thousands of blue and silver grasses swarming in, and they were piled up one by one in front of him. The phantom-like bunch of deadwood vines, Fei's beast eyes exposed in it, turned slightly, and suddenly, countless blue and silver grass surged away according to Izanami, mixed with hard deadwood, the long branches of the group vine. The binding ability is definitely a unique existence. Izanami looked at the layers of blue and silver grass wrapped around her body, and Fei's murderous eyes. She seemed a little angry. This damn little thing actually wanted to regard me as his soul ring. I'm Izanami from hell and underworld. It is your greatest honor as a human soul master to be my friend, and become the biggest cake of my coming of age ceremony. How dare you resist? Then I'll maim you, and take you back. She didn't care about Tang Heo on the side, because she never felt any dangerous killing intent from Tang Heo's body from the beginning to the end. But what shocked her was that this human soul master actually knew herself and Huangquan's identity. Existence. Although there are indeed some rare legends about Huangquan in the legend, but after all, only a few of them know about it. Abolish you. Be friends with me. Izanami suddenly opened those dead fish-like eyes that were glowing scarlet, and the long hair on her skull suddenly began to grow, like indestructible chains, which instantly bound the blue eyes that bound her. The branches of the silver grass and the dead wood too and vine were torn off. The swarming long hair far exceeds the combination of blue silver grass and deadwood vines displayed by Fei in terms of hardness and density, and the unlimited extension is not limited to this. Hiss. Fei suddenly grinned in pain. He saw that his arm was actually entangled with a slender strand of hair, and this strand of hair had a sharp luster, but it strangled Fei's arm in an instant. There is a deep blood ditch. This hair is so sharp and so hard. Resisting the pain, Fei raised his hand. His fingertips condensed his soul power, and then slid down fiercely, finally cut off a section of Izanami's hair. After that, Fei didn't wait for the sudden move towards backed away, trying to avoid the attack of Izanami's surrounding hair. Izanami didn't seem to show any weakness. She crazily attacked Fei with her hair covering the sky. Her body stood up in the air for a moment, and the light that escaped from the cover of the leaves above was also covered by layers of light at this moment. His hair was covered, so that even the slightest light could not be seen. Looking at Izanami's ferocious face, Fei under the mask suddenly became extremely calm. He knew that he had to show some real skills to deal with this ghost thing, although he didn't want to use some backhands. Sure enough, martial souls are really unreliable without soul skills, of course, except for chaotic martial souls. Since you are Izanami, then we must use Izanami to defeat Izanami. Chaos martial soul, give it to me. Without further ado, Fei handed the section of Izanami's hair that he had cut off into the chaos villain's mouth. The chaotic villain swallowed, and after a burst of human nausea, he raised his hand, and in an instant a miniature version of Izanami appeared on his little hand, which was different from those blue silver grass and deadwood vines. Izanami is similar to the beast spirit possessed by the hyena. I saw the chaos martial soul summoning the Izanami martial soul, and in an instant, the messy long hair continued along the strands of the chaos martial soul's hair, mixed with a trace of terrifying power, and along the way, continued to Fei's body. Izanami, possessed. Fei gave a soft drink, and after that, he only felt a heavy force continuously pouring into his body, and his head was very heavy, and his scalp was even more numb. I felt the cold and soft hair on my neck drooping. If you know that Fei's original hair was also neat and short, but now the lavender long hair against the black halo is not quite the same as that of Izanami. The long hair seems to stop growing after reaching the neck. What the hell is this? To be honest, Fei didn't feel any other special feeling at all, except that his hair had grown. Then, what is the function of this Izanami martial soul? Mother. End of this chapter. Chapter 58 Izanami, the son of underworld from hell. 3. Mother. The sentence mother stunned Fei, who was still exploring the effects of Izanami's martial soul. At first, he thought that the young and old ones ran out, but when he really looked at Izanami's at that time, he was really confused. This Izanami actually stood in front of her and knelt down to herself, and it seemed like the situation in front of her. Probably, the sentence Izanami said just now called her mother, right? It can't be a green radish, can it? So that's how it is. Tang Heo walked over slowly. You have Izanami's martial soul. The ability after possession should be the same as Izanami's. You can create illusions, and when other people see you, they will regard you as the one they most want and love people. Fei could tell that through the mask. Tang Heo's eyes looked a bit complicated. His Izanami martial spirit seemed a bit subtle. He actually possessed such a means, so wouldn't he be able to rely on such a martial spirit in the future? Hehe. Snapped. What are you thinking? Why don't you hurry up and accept this wonderful martial spirit? You have to accept the scissors in my hand. Who dare to deceive some good women with this ghost martial spirit? Luo stood on Fei's shoulder and said viciously. Fei only felt a burst of embarrassment and then looked at Izanami, who was kneeling on the ground. It turns out that it is so easy to deal with such a spiritual beast. Hahaha. Use Izanami to deal with Izanami. It really is the best way. Go ahead. Now is the best opportunity. Tang Heo pointed to Izanami, who was kneeling on the ground. This. Fei looked at Izanami, who was kneeling in front of him, but he couldn't bear it. Although he knew that Izanami's intentions and thoughts were really disgusting, he also wanted to get a soul ring, but he just killed him like this. Did she? That sentence mother. She is also an existence with a mother. Moreover, although she is not human, She looks so human-like, but a soul beast that is close to 1,000 years, has such spiritual wisdom. The Yixi lineage is very powerful, right? At least in the underworld, that all soul masters have never understood. Xiao Fei, what's wrong with you? Can't bear it? Seeing Fei standing in front of Izanami, Tang Heo raised his hand and then slowly put it down again. His brows were also frowned under the mask, but how many still gratified? This child can hesitate even in the face of soul beasts, so he probably won't become like him in the future. Fei nodded. Although it may seem that I'm hypocritical, I was really sad to hear the sentence of mother just now. I don't have a mother, but I believe that no matter how sinful a person is, there must be someone who loves him mother, and I don't have any right to deprive a mother's child. Uncle Tang, why don't we use another soul beast to plunder and kill? Tang Heo shook his head. Xiao Fei, I know how you feel, but as long as you get the soul ring, you need to hunt the soul beast. Other soul beasts may not have intelligence like Izanami, but they are like you. The said soul beast is also life. So would you choose not to get a soul ring? Fei shook his head. He will not give up hunting the soul ring, because he can continue to practice with the soul ring, and he can become stronger. There is nothing wrong with him being strong, because he is powerful in hunting soul beasts. That's right, the death of a soul beast can only be said to be at the level of being hunted in this world of the jungle, and it has no right to choose. It's already hard for you not to kill soul beasts indiscriminately. Remember that we are soul masters, and we have our own beliefs. As you can see, imagine that if you don't have Izanami's martial soul attached, what will she do? Will she continue to catch you in the underworld? Will she kill you? Facing Tang Heo's question, Fei said, yes. The reason is that simple. Tang Heo replied flatly. Xiao Fei, I used to pursue the meaning of the existence between soul masters and soul beasts like you, but then I chose to give up. Why did you give up? Fei looked at Izanami, who was still kneeling on the ground, as if she would keep kneeling there if he didn't speak up. Because this is a world where the weak prey on the strong. Tang Heo replied with a hint of reminiscence. A world where the weak prey on the strong? Fei muttered to himself. Yes, here is a world where the weak are preyed on by the weak and the strong, composed of soul masters and soul beasts. The core of the empire is a soul master, and the check and balance of power also comes from the soul master. If you have great power, you can have everything, and change everything to check and balance everything. So what is the source of the fundamental power? Soul beast. Only by hunting soul beasts can one obtain a soul ring, and only by obtaining a soul ring can one continue to practice and become stronger. This is an irreversible endless loop. You are not yet 7 years old. You don't need to think too much about some things. You just need to remember that you did nothing wrong with killing her. What was wrong was nothing but the fundamentals of this world. Tang Heo sighed, then slowly walked towards walking away. Is there a relationship between a soul master and a soul beast? Yin. Fei stood where he was, with the wind in the forest blowing slightly. Unknowingly, a bone sword about 3 feet long appeared in Fei's palm. Yes, a bone sword similar to a human spine. Pushu's speechless bone sword split the surrounding air, facing the breeze in the forest. Fei blatantly stabbed. Under the mask were indifferent eyes, which contained a trace of bloodthirsty pleasure. Fei looked at Izanami, who fell to the ground in response, and a dark yellow circle that gradually condensed above Izanami's body. The soul ring. The dreamlike soul ring changes the soul power of different dimensions. This kind of soul power is ruthless, and this kind of soul power is captivating. Since killing you, then use the highest ritual. The bone sword in his hand disappeared. Fei dispersed his chaotic spirit, and everything returned to normal, except for the dark yellow spirit ring in front of him. Limit, the soul ring of 999 years, and the soul ring from Izanami, the son of hell and underworld. Tang Heo turned around and looked at Fei, who had already finished his hand, and didn't say anything to comfort him. Just like him, everyone has their first time. The first time he hunted was a 100-year-old soul beast without any sense, and he didn't have any sense of guilt. But Fei is different after all. Xiao Fei, your appearance. Tang Heo looked at Fei with disheveled hair, and was suddenly at a loss. Could it be because of the side effects of having the Izanami martial soul? This is good. Even hiding your appearance there is no need to do. Ji-Fei raised his hand and fiddled with his long lavender hair, but didn't say much. This is a special mutation, right? It's so beautiful, it looks better than my light green color. Hey, your hair has become like this for a big man, and your appearance is still so dusty. Luo also looked at Ji-Fei's hair hanging down to his shoulders. I don't know what I'm thinking with long lavender hair. Uncle Tang, how should I absorb this spirit ring? Ji-Fei didn't want to care about these side details. The most important thing for him now was to absorb the soul ring and then get the second soul ring. What kind of guilt? When he pulled out the bone sword, everything was gone. The smoke cleared. Want good sex? Okay, Ji-Fei, give it to you. End of this chapter. Chapter 59. The Soul Ring of Izanami Beyond the Ultimate. The method of absorbing a spirit ring is very simple. The most difficult thing is the actual implementation process and your own resistance. This Izanami's spirit ring has the year of coming of age, that is, 999 years. You have a great opportunity, because as long as Izanami and others are adults, they will almost never enter and leave the underworld, which means that human soul masters hardly know or understand what the underworld is like. Ji-Fei nodded. Huangguan, the strangeness of this place is undoubtedly great. Maybe this is the true face of Douluo that he has never seen before. Okay, the specific method of absorbing the soul ring is to use your own soul power to pull the soul ring to yourself. First, you have to display your martial soul. This Izanami martial soul is the ultimate 999-year-old soul. If you hadn't possessed the 20th level of innate soul power and your training over the past year, I'm afraid I wouldn't let you absorb this soul ring. After all, if you are not careful, you will die. Okay, let's not talk nonsense. Sit cross-legged, concentrate your own mental power, and don't let the soul power released by your second martial soul be invalidated at this time. This is to show that you have been training for a year. What a perfect time. Ji-Fei nodded, then sat cross-legged on the spot, stretched out his right hand, and the chaotic martial soul appeared in the palm. The chaotic eyes of the delicate villain were closely staring at the dark yellow eyes in a beautiful soul ring. Ji-Fei's heart tightened. Wouldn't this guy eat the soul ring for himself? Stimulating the soul power, Ji-Fei couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief when he found that the villain of chaos didn't open his mouth to swallow the soul ring. If he really ate this thing, wouldn't he be at a loss? This is the ultimate century-old spirit ring. It's only a small difference, and it can become a 1000-year level spirit ring. What kind of effects can such a spirit ring have? The traction of the soul power seems to have produced a strong adsorption force. This kind of adsorption force that seizes the body is a terrifying force that Ji-Fei has never experienced before. Ji-Fei seems to feel that every inch of his body is being crushed, clamping it down. The momentum and the soul power and the soul ring coexist and die together. Soon, the dark yellow soul ring was slowly crowned on the head of the chaotic villain, and the chaotic villain raised his hand and gently stroked the dark yellow soul ring, as if very happy. Ji-Fei panicked subconsciously. He was afraid that this guy would suddenly open his mouth and make a fool of himself. The crowned dark yellow soul ring seemed to become less agitated under the caress of the chaotic villain, and she didn't seem to have any resentment, which surprised Ji-Fei. Could it be that the process of absorbing the soul ring was so smooth? The sense of comfort kept coming, and Ji-Fei could feel that every pore on his body was constantly releasing fragrance and indescribable soul power. The comfortable feeling made Ji-Fei utter a raving sound. It seems that this Izanami is her own mother and wants her to apologize, so there is no complaint or regret. The resulting soul ring does not even have any hostility, even if it is infinitely close to a 1000-year soul ring. If there is no mental pressure from the depths, there is almost not so much danger. It seems that Xiaofei's choice is very good. Using the characteristics of Izanami's martial soul, I'm afraid that hunting soul beasts and absorbing soul beasts will be almost impossible in the future. There will be no danger of mental oppression, and the remaining strength depends on whether he can bear it. Xiaofei, don't be too slack. The power of this ultimate century-old soul ring will start to be added to your martial soul. Although this will not be life-threatening, you have to take it seriously. Ji-Fei subconsciously increased his concentration. Indeed, he himself could clearly feel that his body temperature was constantly rising, and his whole body had a special feeling of power swelling. The burning heat wave in the palm of his right hand, it was continuously released on the dark yellow soul ring. There is nothing special about the chaotic villain. He is still stroking the dark yellow soul ring. The overall white appearance seems to become more and more crystal clear, and the overall feeling seems to be another level of strength improvement, more than one level suddened. Fei felt the scalding heat waves hitting his skin from top to bottom. The absolutely suppressed terrifying power surged continuously from the palm of his right hand. Soul power, endless soul power came from his body non-stop. Fei felt it. It was a wave of dark and terrifying soul power slapping him like a tidal wave. Tang Heo also seemed to have noticed the abnormal changes in Fei's body. How could this be? Fei's skin suddenly showed traces of blood stains continuously overflowing, and a large area of redness, as if the next layer of flesh and blood occupied the original skin. Traces of dark soul power continuously flowed on the dark yellow soul ring gush. Why does this soul ring feel so weird? No matter how terrifying the ordinary century-old soul ring is, I'm afraid it hasn't reached this level, even if it's 999 years old. The black halo was continuously released, gradually covering Fei's whole body along his hands. Fei's original joyful thoughts had completely disappeared. Attacking everywhere, the villain of chaos in the palm is still stroking the dark yellow. Something was wrong, and when I looked closely, the dark yellow soul ring in the vaguely black mist in the palm of my right hand gradually changed strangely, as if it was gradually changing from the original dark yellow to a purple halo. What? Fei's roar pulled out a powerful force, and in an instant a strong cyclone blew away the permeating black mist, and at this time Fei's whole picture was also presented. This is. Tang Heo's eyes fixed on Fei's palm. The original dark yellow soul ring turned into a crystal clear purple halo. What does this mean? The original century-old soul ring suddenly turned into a 1,000-year soul ring. Suddenly, Tang Heo saw that the chaotic villain in the palm of Fei's right hand kept stroking the 1,000-year-old soul ring and seemed to realize something, and also connected to something that seemed unbelievable but actually happened. This chaotic martial spirit can actually improve the quality of the soul ring. Is this actually true? Can it improve the quality of the soul ring for itself? The century-old soul ring that was only a short line turned into a 1,000-year soul ring by accident. A level spirit ring. It's really incredible. But can Xiao Fei survive? Fei has an innate full soul power of level, which is a point beyond the basic soul master, so it is not a problem to absorb the ordinary century-old soul ring that exceeds the limit, but now the original century-old soul ring has suddenly become a 1,000-year soul ring. This sudden rise in power is more than what can be glimpsed in front of the eyes. Such a serious injury. Luo on Fei's shoulder looked at the special changes in Fei's body at this moment. The condensed black marks spread from his right hand, and the chapped blood marks on his body overflowed with drops of blood, and the power of terrifying coercion was also continuously released, so that the terrifying coercion seems to be increasing. Luo stretched out her hand and slowly floated to the side of the chaotic villain. The originally gentle eyes suddenly became cold, and the traces of green halo changed from the original warm and moist things to the decisive existence of life and death. You damn martial soul villain, don't you see that your master is about to die? Are you still here to enhance attributes? Can you have a little IQ? Or 1,000-year soul ring is enough, and you are still here to enhance the soul ring's own soul power, knowing that you are unique? Do you want to directly increase the quality of this soul ring to 10,000 years? Why don't you hurry up? Otherwise, I will destroy you. The chaotic villain who was still cheerfully enhancing the soul power attribute of the soul ring suddenly withdrew his hands, then looked at the dark purple soul ring, and nodded in satisfaction, but in the blink of an eye he returned to the original standing still look. On the contrary, Luo exhaled deeply, patted her chest, and said, "It's okay, it's okay. It seems that this number one martial spirit is also quite smart. At least he can understand words. Okay, let's go. It's fine to just deal with the injuries on the body naturally. The first spirit ring of the first martial spirit can be regarded as taken care of." End of this chapter. Chapter 60 GFEIN-039 S almost frightening first soul skill. Fei's expression under the mask is unknown, but Tang Heo can tell that the absorption of the 1,000-year soul ring has come to an end, and it can almost be said that it has succeeded. There is no other reason, because he can no longer see the restlessness. The soul power continued to disturb Jifei's body, and the bloodstains that were originally metaphors gradually disappeared, and the black marks wrapped around his right hand also receded, and the restrained soul power gradually turned into a deeper existence. Did it succeed? The first soul ring unexpectedly reached the level of 1,000 years by chance, by accident. It's really amazing. It's worthy of being his son. Zio-san, can you do this? Forget it. What are you comparing with? Tang Heo shook his head. The first soul ring has reached the millennium level, so what should I choose for the second soul ring? The cheerful chaotic villain is jumping in a humane manner in Jifei's palm, and the dark purple soul ring around it exudes the power of palpitations. The original crystal clear villain seems to be more than half complete in appearance, and his facial features seem to be a little more detailed, but this can only be seen through careful observation. Otherwise, I'm afraid it's really difficult to discover the changes contained in it. Boom. All of a sudden, the mask originally worn by Jifei turned into powder and disappeared from Jifei's face in an instant. His facial features were in a mess. He gritted his teeth fiercely. A painful feeling came from his hands, and the chaotic martial soul dissipated instantly. PFFT. Jifei suddenly opened his clenched teeth and spit out a big mouthful of black blood. His sickly face was so pale that it was scary enough. Jifei tightly clenched his hands. The pain of broken bones and tendons continued. Jifei seemed to lose his intuition for an instant as the pain in his body was exerted on his hands. After all, he is only a 6 or 7-year-old child. Even though his will is firm, the exhaustion of his body can't keep up with the exhaustion of his will. Seeing this abrupt change, Tang Heo suddenly moved over. His speed was fast enough to appreciate the existence of the mountain wind. His eyes were fixed on the changes in Jifei's tightly clenched hands. The 10 fingers that were originally small were actually extremely fast at this moment. The flesh and blood of the fingertips are pierced out of each finger, exposing the bones that are growing rapidly inside, and the phalanges of the 10 fingers of both hands are pierced together. The pain is mixed with the piercing pain that can be heard in both ears. Subconsciously, even Tang Heo himself clenched his fist. As the saying goes, 10 fingers connect to the heart. The pain of being pierced through the fingertips is undoubtedly like being directly pierced by a foreign object directly into the heart. And this is a total of 10, released together at the same time. Jifei's eye sockets were filled with blood-colored teardrops, and the depths of his original pupils were almost filled with blood. The severe pain made his originally deep and roaring voice hoarse. Zio Fei. Tang Heo quickly released his soul power, and the thick and powerful soul power instantly attached to Jifei's hands, but was suddenly bounced away by a layer of green halo. Tang Heo's face darkened. What's going on? Why was his soul power bounced away? Tang Heo stared closely at the constant changes of Jifei's twins. I saw a purple-black metallic sharp blade protruding from the fingertips of the 10 fingers, about 10 centimeters in length, and a trace of soul power attached to it was instantly torn apart by the metallic luster it emitted. It can actually split the soul power. Tang Heo said in shock. He chose to stop temporarily, as if he saw that this is not a fatal crisis, and it may even be an infinite opportunity. Just a moment ago, his mind was like an electric shock, connecting the scene he found on Jifei's hands with an existence that was enough to make all soul masters marvel and envy. Attached soul bone, yes, look at this warm metallic luster, together with the strong power to split the soul. I'm afraid that even the legendary Dark Gold Dreadclaw Bear can hardly match such power. The Dark Claws are like the ecstasy messengers from hell. As long as you stretch out these sharp claws towards you, you are destined to pay your fresh life as the price for viewing. Originally, Jifei's little hand was suddenly surrounded by such a layer of dark purple halo. The terrifying power was self-evident, and the rising soul power seemed to be injected into Jifei's body without limit. Fei no longer roared violently, because he was completely out of strength, and the dry blood stains at the corner of his mouth should prove that what happened just now was definitely not an illusion, but a real existence. The sharp claws on both hands exuded the power of palpitations, and Jifei collapsed directly on the ground. The sharp claws on his hands cut the ground straight and embedded them into the soil fiercely. The sharpness cut the ground like a partition. Tofu is generally easy. Tang Heo was secretly shocked when he saw this scene. The power of these sharp claws might be able to withstand the soul skills displayed by some soul rings, right? This kind of terrifying power is really not something ordinary soul masters dare to touch. Tang Heo knelt down and picked Ji-Fei up. The bloodstains flowing around would probably attract a lot of soul beasts in a short while. He didn't want to go on a killing spree. After all, not every soul beast has a certain amount of IQ. The moment he hugged Ji-Fei, he deliberately dodged the terrifying power released by those sharp claws, but he was very afraid that it would not be very good if such a terrifying existence touched him. After tossing and coming to a relatively high slope, Tang Heo looked at Ji-Fei, who was in a coma, and shook his head helplessly. That's all. That's all. Anyway, after cleaning up, I'll send him to Wuhandian Academy to disturb. Come on. 1 year is not long or short. As for how much he can learn, it depends on him. Not long after, Tang Heo took out a token with black water chestnuts. There are several delicate signs on it. As for what kind of signs they are, I don't know. Anyway, I just skipped it in an instant. When Ji-Fei woke up, the first thing he saw was Douluo lying on his chest with bright eyes and hazy eyes, which was very pitiful. Douluo. What's wrong with me? Ji-Fei only remembered that he was fainted by a sharp bone-shattering pain that suddenly hit his hands not long ago, and he didn't seem to remember anything after that. Fei, are you awake? Tang Heo on the side was keenly aware of Ji-Fei's situation and hurried over. Seeing that Ji-Fei's mind was clear and his complexion gradually became rosy, the stone in Tang Heo's heart seemed to be slowly falling down. Sniffing his nose, Ji-Fei felt the strong smell of blood on his clothes suddenly penetrated into his nose. In an instant, Ji-Fei felt his stomach tumbling. He unbuttoned his clothes, and as soon as Ji-Fei raised his hand, he suddenly found so many dark purple bone claws protruding from his hands. The dark purple bone claws exude a metallic luster, and the sound of splitting the air can be heard as soon as you raise your hand. These bone claws are dark purple bones, slender and well proportioned to a length of more than 10 centimeters, and each one is like a natural gift. Ji-Fei didn't even feel the slightest discomfort, as if it was something that should have grown on his 10 fingers, but now it just changed a little bit. Uncle Tang, what's going on? Ji-Fei didn't get up in a hurry, because Douluo was still lying on his chest. He just half lied and raised his hand to watch the changes on his fingers. External spirit bone. Tang Heo gave 4 words calmly. External spirit bone. Ji-Fei obviously didn't understand these things. You don't need to understand anything. Anyway, you will learn it when you enter the academy. Anyway, now you just need to know that this thing is very powerful, and you can slowly find the answer from practice. Tang Heo said. Douluo? Ji-Fei didn't continue to choose to study these external spirit bones, but instead looked at Douluo, who was lying on her body with big light green eyes staring at her non-stop. Douluo didn't say much, but took a deep look at Ji-Fei for the last time and then disappeared. Ji-Fei was at a loss. What does Douluo mean? It's such a troublesome thing. The moment Ji-Fei stood up and wanted to get up, the dark purple bone claws of both hands cut the ground in an instant, and Ji-Fei created a big hole in the breakthrough that was originally very soft. Ji-Fei almost fell into it. Don't you just put it away. Use your own soul power to slowly pull the external soul bone into your body. It's the same when you use it. Inject the soul power into your hands and the external soul bone can be released directly. It's gone. Tang Heo said calmly while standing aside. Ji-Fei nodded and began to operate his own soul power familiarly. At the same time, the chaotic martial soul appeared. In an instant, a round of purple soul ring gradually floated. The purple soul ring was deep and exuded a different kind of coercion. This kind of terrifying power becomes wider with the release of soul power. 1000-year soul ring. Ji-Fei looked at the floating soul ring on his body in astonishment. Uncle Tang, didn't you say that Izanami was a 909-year-old soul beast? Shouldn't it be yellow? Is it a soul ring? Why is it now a 1000-year-old purple soul ring? Tang Heo said, because of your chaotic martial soul, it seems to have special powers that can help you improve the quality of your own soul rings, just like swallowing scrap iron, before you can become a divine material, but in the future you will absorb the power of the soul ring. You should try your best to avoid such things from happening. If there was not a sudden green ability that helped you just now, I'm afraid that you have already been blown even more by your 1000-year-old soul ring. Lolo? Ji-Fei was relieved, seeing the bone claws slowly gathering in his palm. Ji-Fei also heaved a sigh of relief. After retracting the bone claws, his 10 fingers also returned to their original appearance. Fei's hands became more slender and more symmetrical than before. Okay, you should quickly change your clothes. Such a strong bloody smell will inevitably attract some unnecessary and mindless soul beasts, and then we will continue to search for the next soul ring for you. There is not much time left. Ji-Fei nodded, and then took out a change of clothes from the Ring of 7 Emotions. At the same time, Ji-Fei said to Tang Heyo, Uncle Tang, guess what kind of soul skills my 1000-year-old soul ring brought me? How do I know this? Your chaotic martial soul is too wonderful. Although the main martial soul is applied, the other martial souls are also applied at the same time. Now you are better. The blue silver grass martial soul is the first. This soul ring has also logically become a 1000-year soul ring. End of this chapter. Chapter 61 GFEI and -039 S almost frightening first soul skill. 1. Just as Tang Heyo said, Ji-Fei smiled slightly, moved his palms, and Yunren's soul power was revealed. He lay down on his side, and a powerful and unparalleled absorption force was displayed from the blue silver grass. The blue silver grass with the thickness of 3 fingers is broad and hard. Subsequently, Ji-Fei continued to mobilize his soul power, and a group of deadwood and vine branches released surging vitality and entangled with the blue and silver grass, and the purple soul ring lingered around them. Carry on. Suddenly, an oppressive force suddenly hit the surrounding air. The originally solid environment seemed to gradually become ethereal, and the terrifying force mixed with it seemed to increase in vain, and Ji-Fei's eyes returned to their original restrained lavender gradually turned into a trace of blackness. Flowing lavender long hair fluttering slightly, furious mental power squandering endless soul power, a purple soul ring controlled his body. Surrounded by blue silver grass and deadwood vines. How about Uncle Tang? Now that I have obtained the first soul ring, I have a special ability. Even the chaotic villain who does not show the first body of the martial soul can use these absorbed false martial souls at will, and it is very smooth, and can be used together, but it needs a lot of soul power to maintain it, and the hyena spirit cannot be possessed now, because the two seem to be unable to fuse, after possessing the spirit of Izanami merged together. Seeing Ji-Fei's current appearance, Tang Heyo was moved. After applying Izanami's martial spirit, Ji-Fei's appearance could completely change with a change of people's heart. He thought it was Yin. He thought it was Tang San. Look, Uncle Tang. As Ji-Fei said, he tamped out strands of blue silver grass, and the blue silver grass, that gathered together in an instant, exuded a powerful and surging vitality, and instantly reached in front of a beech tree. This beech tree was tens of meters high and almost towering. In an instant, the blue silver grass vassalized the past, and in an instant, when the blue silver grass touched the beech tree, the originally dense leaves of the beech tree suddenly turned yellow and dull. Uncle Tang, this is the first soul skill given to Lanai KO by the 1000-year soul ring. It can absorb the vitality of attached objects. I call it a ray of life. Ji-Fei's heart moved. The amount of life force to steal also depends on the level of his own soul power. He now has a soul power of level. Of course, how much is the specific amount to determine the level of soul power? It's not very clear. After all, he hasn't studied these things systematically, so it can be regarded as a level of ignorance. Stealing a glimmer of life. Tang Heyo's face under the mask was a little moved. Langyan KO's first soul skill was not a soul skill similar to restraint, but directly activated the existence of the enemy's life source. It really was a terrifying 1000-year-old soul ring up. Uncle Tang, look again. With a sudden movement in his hand, the dark purple 1000-year-old soul ring was activated, and a deadwood vine that rushed across turned into a cage about a foot in size. The target was still the huge beech tree. The huge deadwood vine cage in an instant. It covered the roots of the beech tree, and then, a large body of the deadwood vine inserted into the ground in an instant, and at the same time, something similar to tentacles grew, and embedded in the main body of the beech tree. Boom. Nothing seems to have changed. Uncle Tang, can you see what's going on? Ji-Fei naturally knew what was going on. He looked at Tang Heo and believed that Uncle Tang must be able to see it. Ji-Fei seemed to be more powerful than the glimmer of life of the blue silver grass. This beech tree is completely dead. Tang Heo opened his mouth and gave such an answer. The heart of the tree inside, including the scattered roots, has become the root and heart of dead wood and vines. Ji-Fei nodded. I call the first soul skill endowed by the 1,000-year-old spirit ring to the withered tree to and vine stealing the sky and changing the sun. Its basic function is the same as what Tang Shu saw. It can restrain the prey within a wide range and then damage it. The vitality is extracted and fed back to its own branches to become stronger, and it can also occupy the body of the original prey. Although it looks alive and can move, but its interior is already like a dead wood. Tang Heo pondered for a while. He seemed to have thought of some mystery about Ji-Fei's chaotic martial soul. Xiao Fei, let me take a guess. Is your Izunomi's martial soul supposed to be an absorbing type of soul skill? Or is it absorbing a person's spirit, then control his spiritual power instead? Ji-Fei was startled. Uncle Tang, how do you know? So that's it. I know. Tang Heo nodded. Your chaotic martial soul can transform into other people's martial souls by absorbing soul power or a part of your body, but these martial souls you transform you cannot use different spirit rings separately, which means that these spirits of yours can only use the spirit rings absorbed by your first spirit at the same time. So the ability of the first spirit given to you by Izunomi basically. It can be guessed that it is something like Devour, so the soul skills obtained by other martial spirits at the same time can only be similar to Devour. I'm curious, your blue silver grass glimmer of life and the withered tree vine stealth are already so terrifying. So what about your Izunomi martial soul, Vortex Hyena, and your main body's chaotic martial soul? How about it? Ji-Fei chose to use actual actions to prove it. My Izunomi martial soul can devour other people's spiritual power. This has a distance limit, which is about 10 meters away. This is the only drawback. As for the effect, I can devour other people's spiritual power and inject it into my own will instead. I'm not very clear about the difference in the limit level, but it should depend on my own soul power level. The vortex-toothed hyena is also devouring, which can be regarded as a special bloodthirsty skill. After adding the beast spirit, I can increase my own bloodthirsty attributes through continuous fighting. In other words, it can give me more and more bravery in battle features, but I'll forget about melee combat. As for the main body of the Chaos Martial Soul, what should I say, except that it looks better than before, and other things have not changed much, and the soul skills have not. Ji-Fei has absorbed so many soul rings, and knows what kind of soul skills are attached to the martial soul itself, let alone the first martial soul of the body. But Ji-Fei is really good at the power of the chaotic martial soul. I just didn't think about it. It seemed like I was in a very awkward situation. Oh, you don't even know it yourself? Seeing Ji-Fei release the Chaos Martial Soul, the delicate villain is indeed rounder than before, and the overall crystal is even several times higher than usual. If you observe carefully, you can even see a trace of it. A dark purple halo flows in it. Tang Heo pondered slightly. Okay, don't worry about this matter anymore. Anyway, after obtaining the soul ring, it will only benefit your future cultivation. Xiao Fei, you know what it means for you to absorb the first soul ring now. What are you wearing? End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62 Soul Ring Configuration You Have Never Known Before. Ji-Fei stared at Tang Heo. He didn't know what Tang Heo's expression would be under the mask. He looked at the faint purple 1,000-year-old soul ring on his body. What could this mean? To prove the existence of the proud son of heaven? Or do you mean that you have extraordinary and decisive talent? In the end, Ji-Fei shook his head. Please tell Uncle Tang a little bit more. Tang Heo sighed. There are joys and sorrows. First of all, the big reason why you can absorb this spirit ring is that Izanami was a 100-year level spirit ring when you absorbed it, but in your chaotic spirit, after adding the quality, it has reached the 1000-year level, and the most peculiar thing is that when you hunted Izanami, she didn't have any complaints or hatred, which leads to you only need to bear the powerful and vast power contained in the soul ring. That's enough. I can only admire your wit. The skillful use of the Izanami martial soul is very flexible. Yes, the use of the martial soul should be flexible. The first soul ring has reached a millennium, which has reached an existence that is unheard of by all soul masters, and the soul power that reaches level at the age of 6 is already a somewhat shocking existence. So Fei, I hope you understand it properly. What is ulterior motives? This is very important for you to study after entering Wuhandian Academy. I don't want you to be with Wuhandian Academy, or even say that I don't want you to go to Wuhandian Academy to study, but I can't violate soul oath. Martial soul oath. Fei was startled. The so-called Wuhan oath is an oath that uses one's own Wuhan as a bet. Simply put, it must be obeyed. If you don't obey, the Wuhan will explode. Tang sighed. Wuhandian Academy is not a good one place. It is even more difficult to choose an existence like you who shows absolute talent. Fei didn't say anything. Indeed, it was completely unheard of that the first soul ring was a 1000-year level soul ring, and the soul skills bestowed on him by this 1000-year soul ring were indeed abnormal. But what kind of oath Fei was thinking of would use his own martial spirit as a bet, and he must also stipulate that he must go to the Wuhandian Academy to study, which is really unimaginable. That's all. That's all. Tang stood on the small slope. His burly body couldn't help but grow so much taller. Let's go. Let's find a second soul ring for you. After you get the second soul ring, you have officially entered the journey of soul master training. As for how much the 2 soul rings will make you improve in level, you need to see what the second martial soul is like. Uncle Tang, is the millennium still the primary goal? Fei's body trembled a little. He almost died when he just absorbed the Izanami soul ring. He had absorbed it well before, but the sudden change, if this time he still targeted the 1000-year soul ring, who would it be? Can you bear it? Tang shook his head. 100 years. After all, the existence of things like Izanami is different from real soul beasts. When you face soul beasts, you will know how wisdom exists for beasts. A century-old soul ring is enough. You can't take too many risks anymore. This is also to protect you in the future. Of course, the most important thing is yourself. Don't be too arrogant. Wuhandian Academy also, it's not an easy place. If it's possible, I'd be happy for you and Zio-san to complete the courses of the Elementary Soul Master Academy together, but there's no other way. The distant dusk is slowly falling, and the cold wind from the Stardao forest is blowing. Fei is also a novelty. After walking for such a long time, he has not even seen a soul master, let alone a soul master. What are you talking about? The soul master team? The vision near the forest at dusk is very unclear. Fei walked very carefully. Since Fei got the first soul ring, he could clearly feel the huge changes in his body. From the sensation of the facial features to the physical strength and tolerance of the body, it has been enhanced several times. Along the way, it's not that Fei didn't encounter soul beasts, even a few 1000-year-old ones, but when they stared at them for a while, they would suddenly run away, and they didn't even dare to turn their heads. Fei knew this. It was the invisible aura released by Tang that dispelled these approaching 1000-year-old soul beasts. Although these soul beasts do not have spiritual intelligence, they naturally have the survival consciousness of seeking advantages and avoiding disadvantages. They can naturally perceive the terrifying breath released from Tang Can't even count? Fei, if you fight with others in the future, remember not to be too aggressive. Although your martial soul is too wonderful and can be used in all positions of battle, but you have to remember that it is not good to show your talent too much. If you don't pay attention, you will know what the consequences are. As he walked forward, Tang told Fei what he needed to consider when entering Wuhandian Academy to study in the future and what he needed to pay attention to. Fei thought of a sentence inadvertently. Every man is innocent of his guilt. My martial soul is now like a treasure, and I even say that my existence is a treasure enough for everyone to use their brains to study. After all, the first martial arts is a millennium level, which is not what ordinary people dare to believe. Then since he can do it, he definitely has something extraordinary in himself, which is enough for people to explore the secrets of Fei. Uncle Tang, I also want to keep a low profile, but the purple color of this first soul ring is too conspicuous, and no matter which martial soul it is applied on, it will reveal a 1000-year soul ring. Why don't you think I should be radical? What about it? Fei asked. The method is very simple. You only need to use one spirit. At least you need to think about what kind of spirit you want to use before entering Wuhandian Academy. The Izanami spirit feels very good. You can say this, it is the characteristic of your Izanami spirit, which possesses a kind of interference similar to spiritual power, so it shows that your first spirit ring is at the millennium level. Fei was thinking as he walked forward. Yes, he also needs to have a martial soul if he wants to study in the Wuhandian Academy. Although he only has 2 martial spirits in essence, wouldn't it still reveal his secrets when he unleashes them? Are you familiar with Izanami's special spirit? It seems to be a very good interference factor. It seems that I can only do this. The rest still needs to test my own ability to adapt. Anyway, it's only a year. It's only been a year and there shouldn't be any fights among freshmen, right? Don't give me a bunch of slaps in the face and pretend to be a pig and eat a tiger, don't you? Time passed slowly, and the star forest had officially entered the era of the night galaxy. The leaves in the sky were stacked together like a sky of leaves, and the naked twinkling stars on it were the last light in the darkness, right? And Fei is thinking carefully about his special soul ring configuration. Uncle Tang said that the second spirit ring is at the 100-year level, so it doesn't look dazzling. But how can it not be dazzling? Purple, yellow. They are sesame seeds blooming steadily. What am I? It feels more conspicuous, right? But even it's so conspicuous that I dare not touch such a 1000-year-old soul beast without IQ. Fortunately, Izanami's martial soul should be able to help me avoid unnecessary troubles, right? Fei came back to his senses and quickly followed Tang Heo's pace in front of him. End of this chapter. Chapter 63. At the end of the soul beast hunt. In the drowsy night, the humming and roaring of soul beasts can be heard endlessly. Fei's expression was very calm, and his restrained lavender pupils seemed to be able to spy out the existence hidden in the darkness in the deep star forest. This is not a joke, but after absorbing Izanami's soul ring, every part of Fei's body has been improved like never before. Whether it is his own keen perception or his originally slightly weak physical strength, the strong spine seems to be able to give Fei faster speed, and the existence of the so-called external soul bones attached to the pair seems to be able to directly penetrate the air blocking in front of him. But as he went deeper into Fei, he felt more and more strange. Originally, Tang Heo's actions in the Stardao forest seemed to be purposeful. That is, he was concentrating on finding a second soul ring for Fei, but now it happened. Some special subtle changes. As for how it changed, Fei could only say one sentence. Wandering around. That's right, it was just wandering around in the Stardao Great Forest, and didn't deliberately choose to go deeper. At first Fei thought that Tang Heo had encountered some very powerful soul beast, and didn't want to have anything to do with it, but slowly it felt like it was just my own thoughts. Although Tang Heo didn't continue to choose to go deeper, but his speed also slowed down, until now he has started to walk slowly. Do you think this is a posture that can encounter dangerous soul beasts? Obviously this is impossible. Fei was puzzled, but didn't dare to ask. He just followed behind Tang Heo, thinking and imagining his beautiful life as a soul master in the future. There are a lot of spirit beasts around. Luo, who was floating beside her, said a word slowly. Focus. Isn't that the point? Fei's thoughts turned quickly. So it's the reason. I should have thought of it before, but I didn't realize it until now. Tang Heo's purpose is very simple. First of all, we need to know that the second soul ring that Tang Heo is going to look for Fei is absolutely impossible to be a 1000-year level soul ring. Fei's first 1000-year soul ring is actually very large. In fact, it was all caused by the cleverness of using Izanami's martial soul. It can be said that Izanami died without complaint or regret, so as long as the soul ring is absorbed, as long as it bears this powerful force after gaining strength, he could completely obtain the soul ring, and Ji-Fei believed that the change that occurred when he absorbed the Izanami soul ring was definitely caused by the chaotic martial soul. It should be that the chaos martial soul has been amplified, but the 999-year-old soul ring that was short of it made it gain great power when it was dying, and directly became the existence of a 1000-year-old soul beast. In the end, it can be regarded as the fulfillment of Ji-Fei. But we have to mention here the necessary condition for the chaos martial soul to be able to amplify, that is, it needs to devour a part of its own power to be able to amplify. Ji-Fei didn't see this process, so he didn't know what the chaos martial soul was in the end. How much of the original Izanami soul ring's power was swallowed up, which led to Ji-Fei's accidental acquisition of such a seemingly impossible 1000-year soul ring. So let's get back to the topic now. Tang Heo searched for a century-old soul ring for Ji-Fei, but the probability of an excellent century-old soul ring appearing in the outskirts of the Stardao forest is the best. But now Ji-Fei and Tang Heo have already penetrated here, so it is only possible to find some century-old soul beasts that exist by chance, but often such soul beasts that dare to exist by chance are extremely good at hiding. So Tang Heo can only blame him for releasing some of his own soul beasts. The breath to draw those hidden soul beasts. This released aura must be controlled to a critical point, that is, to make those century-old soul beasts who are hiding feel that they can come out to hunt them, and then those 1000-year-old soul beasts can't look down on them. The best node to release breath. Undoubtedly, an existence like Tang Heo can easily control such power. Ji-Fei now has a few 100-year-old soul beasts that I like by my side. Let me tell you about the characteristics of these soul beasts, and then you can feel which one is suitable for you, and I will do it. Grab it, and finally you can make up the knife yourself. Before Ji-Fei could react, Tang Heo spoke leisurely. Now behind your left hand there is a white tiger named Ban Iron Hanging Eye. Its age is between 500 and 700 years. This is the spirit beast that has followed us for the longest time. This type of spirit beast is characterized by strength. The powerful speed is also possible. If you add a soul ring, you may have some special powers for close combat. Your chaotic martial soul, Heinei Beichun, seems to be able to be attached to both plant type soul rings and soul beast type soul rings. So finding a soul ring for you is also very simple. And right behind us there is an 800-year-old bitter bamboo. This is a special plant type spirit. You should know the characteristics of bamboo yourself. If you absorb this kind of spirit ring, it will be harmful to your blue silver grass spirit. The benefit of the dead wood to and vine martial soul should be the greatest, but I don't recommend that you absorb this bitter bamboo. Now the closest to us is a Sahua centipede that is nearly 900 years old. This Sahua centipede is as famous as the mandala snake, but more soul masters are willing to call the Sahua centipede the first of all poisons. This Sahua centipede is considered to be the oldest among the group of spirit beasts following us, and there are not many others. I think you can choose this Sahua centipede, although it may seem that it has nothing to do with your chaotic spirit. But when the year comes, this is very important to you. Anyway, don't think about the 1000-year spirit ring. For your safety, I won't let you absorb the 1000-year level spirit ring. Ji-Fei nodded when he heard the words. This Sahua centipede is indeed a more reliable type, and 100-year-old soul beasts around here should all be very good. I chose such a soul beast as my own. The hunting target of the second spirit ring is also a very good choice. Uncle Tang, it's just the Sahua centipede you mentioned. As soon as Ji-Fei finished speaking, Tang Heo turned around, and an invisible field controlling soul power was released in an instant. The incomparably powerful power seemed to directly block the entire space completely. Yes, Ji-Fei's breathing felt extremely slow, and then I saw a centipede with hundreds of feet protruding from the place Ji-Fei had just stepped on. Originally, Ji-Fei thought that he was going to show some kind of big battle, but he didn't think that the so-called Sahua centipede would pass out immediately when he appeared, with light yellow liquid still flowing from the jaws, and his body was still twitching non-stop. Is this Pengsi? Ji-Fei was silent to himself. Okay, you can finish the last blow. You can try to use your sharp external spirit bones. The effect should be good. It can be seen that the identity of Izanami who ran out of Huanquan shouldn't be simple. It can give you so many things, even the external spirit bone, something that can't be met or asked for. Fei knows how to use the so-called external soul bone, injecting his own soul power, and then mobilizing his mind, as if his own hands are growing. When training to use the Ring of Seven Emotions, Fei is very concerned about injecting and releasing soul power. The control can be said to be more proficient. The sharp claws appeared in the dark, and the flowing dark purple halo seemed to give it a gorgeous special effect. Fei stared at the claws, and then slowly walked towards the unconscious Sahua centipede. End of this chapter. Chapter 64 Admission to Wuhandian Academy. 1. Uncle Tang, what are we doing at Notting College? Are we here to pick up Xiaozhen home? Fei looked at Tang Heo in a daze as he looked at the school buildings lined up around him, and the faintly walking soul masters. Tang Heo brought him here, after he and Tang Heo had absorbed the spirit ring. Originally, Fei thought that Tang Heo had changed his mind, and wanted him to come to Notting College, to study with Tang San, but Tang Heo said he wanted to. If there are too many, then the only thing left now is to take Xiaozhen home. Little San has already gone home. I just came here today to meet someone, and ask him to do some things. Tang Heo replied lightly, and then walked into a small 3-story attic. As antique as it is, Tang Heo is very purposeful. After entering, he directly led Fei into the inner layer. Seeing that most of the doors around him were closed and locked, Fei also knew that it was already a holiday. The timing seems to be perfectly missed, right? This is really a trick of good fortune. I don't know how the little third son has been doing during this period of time. Anyway, I don't feel so good. I just got the soul ring and came here again not long after. Boom, boom, boom. Tang Heo stopped in front of a door and slowly knocked on the unlocked door. Fei stood beside Tang Heo and waited quietly. He seemed to have thought of something. Please come in. A tepid voice slowly sounded from the inner room. Tang Heo then pushed open the door and walked in slowly. Fei naturally followed him in. The room was very gentle, and it was the first time Fei felt such a warm place in these days, so he couldn't help but want to have a good time. I stretched my body, but when I saw other people in the room, I quickly dismissed the idea. Soon, Fei's eyes fell on the person who was the source of the voice. His complexion was a little yellow and his deeply sunken eyes seemed to be caused by staying up late for many days. His eyes were slightly hesitant, and then slowly said, "You are?" Tang Heo replied unhurriedly. Speaking of it, we haven't seen each other for more than 20 years, but I have come here often this year, but you just didn't let you find out. My name is Tang Heo. Fei took a deep look at Tang Heo. He really cared about Xiaozhen. He originally thought that Tang Heo would stay at home drinking and sleeping all day since that year, but it turned out that he would come to Notting from time to time. The college looks at the junior. Compared to Fei's happy smile, that person suddenly stepped back after hearing the word Tang Heo and leaned fiercely against the side of the bookshelf, and the flipped books were directly closed together fiercely. His complexion turned pale from the withered yellow just now. He looked at Tang Heo in panic. You are Heo. Tang Heo interrupted him decisively. There is no need to mention the past names. Although we didn't have much intersection before, I also know what kind of personality you are. I also know what you do. I appreciate it. Fei, this is your mistress master, named Master. Fei smiled slightly and bowed to say hello. Master, my name is Fei, and I'm Xiao-san's elder brother. I have troubled you with Xiao-san's life and cultivation this year. Master's face was a little cloudy. He looked at Fei. This is a boy. Such a delicate child is actually a boy. And is this the brother that Xiaozhen often talks about? You're welcome. Xiaozhen is a very good kid. The master still had that tepid voice. On the contrary, Fei smiled. Haha, it's always been the same. Since I was a child, I worked harder than me and must be better than me. The master's expression was slightly calm. He looked at Tang Heo with some confusion. Little San has already gone home. It's a bit late for you to come to pick him up now. Tang Heo nodded. Of course I know this. I just took Fei to get the soul ring these days, and I also know that Xiaozhen is already on vacation. So I took advantage of this time to find you. I'm leaving, and Xiaofei wants to follow me. Xiaofei has his definite goal, so Xiaozhen is my remaining concern. So I want to entrust Xiaozhen to you, and at the same time I want you to give me. I have a forged Wuhandian certificate. What? The master's face was a little ugly. He obviously didn't care much about the next words. You want to go? And you also take his brother with you? Why don't you take Xiaozhen with you? Do you know that Xiaozhen misses you very much? Tang Heo replied coldly, you don't know the reasons for these things. Xiaofei has his own way to go, and I have my own things. If Xiaofei is very ordinary, I would be happy for him to worship with Xiaozhen. It's under your sect, but it's different, and you don't need to know the reason. If Xiaozhen stays with any of us, it won't be a good day. You. The master hesitated for a long time. At least one of you two will stay with Xiaozhen, right? Involuntarily, the master looked at Jifei, and his eyes were bare of hope. Jifei was taken aback, but he didn't say anything, because he knew it was unrealistic. He told Tang Heo more than once that he should study with Xiao-san, but every time Tang Heo flatly refused. After all, Jifei gradually gave up. You don't need to say anything more. Xiaofei has Xiaofei's own arrangement, and even I can't change it. After a few years, after Xiaozhen graduates from Notting College, some things will become clear. So, can you help me arrange the following things? The false proof of Wuhan Temple. The Wuhan originally recorded by Xiaofei is a book, and now I want you to change it to a special type, called Izanami Martial Soul, and Xiaofei's soul power is level 24. Tang Heo said lightly. The master was taken aback, and his pupils shrank suddenly. What did you say? He has a soul power of level 24. Isn't he not much smaller than Xiao-san? Xiaofei, release your soul ring. Remember not to use martial soul. Tang Heo said slowly from the side. Immediately, Jifei released his two soul rings, and the rich dark purple rose up, and the rich soul power then filled the entire space, followed by a group of dark yellow soul rings wrapped in the inner layer. One purple, one yellow. Grandmaster seems to have seen a scene that he has never seen before. How is this possible? How could the first soul ring reach the millennium level? And this is just a 7-year-old doll. How could it bear the power released by the 1000-year-old soul ring? This is simply impossible. But he had to believe his own eyes, because this was what he saw with his own eyes. How can that be? The master covered his mouth and looked at what was happening to Jifei in disbelief. It is indeed impossible for ordinary people, but he is different. His innate soul power is 20 level. Tang Heo replied lightly. God level martial soul? The master's expression was a little uncertain, and he said in surprise, how is it possible? Shouldn't the only God level martial soul in this world be the seraphim martial soul of that school? Tang Heo sneered. That's just the present world. Spirit Hall does have the inheritance of God level martial souls, but don't the powerful forces that have passed away have existences that are more powerful than Spirit Hall? The power of the past? Can you tell me what the child's martial soul is? Grandmaster seemed to be a little eager to know what the existence of the unknown martial spirit was, as if he was connected to some secrets in the legend. Tang Heo shook his head. I can't tell you this for the time being. Let's wait for a chance in the future. This kind of existence absolutely cannot be known to people, whether it is the existence that used to exist, or the existence that is standing now. I don't want them to know that there is Xiaofei. It exists, and Xiaofei's martial spirit is a bit special, so there is no need to worry about being discovered. How about it? Can it be done? Could it be possible that you want him to study at Wuhandian Academy? The master asked in a daze. Well, that's right, it counts. Tang Heo replied lightly. You. The master had nothing to say. I really don't know what you are thinking, but a certificate is obviously impossible. So what can you do? Even if you have the certificate of Wuhandian, even if he has a certificate, it is difficult for him to enter Wuhandian Academy to study. Before the master's words fell, Tang Heo directly threw out a water chestnut token. Master, from what you said, I think you should have a way to get the admission certificate of Wuhandian Academy. Take it to apply for an admission certificate. Well, I owe you a favor. No, it should be said that Xiaofei owes you a favor in the future. Then leave this token with you, and please protect Xiaozhen. Ji-Fei looked at Tang Heo and then at Grandmaster. Why did he involve himself again? What good is it to owe yourself favors? I'm just a little 24th level. Oh no, I'm just a TH level soul master. Just a great soul master. The master's pupils shrank slightly. He seemed to know the origin and meaning of this token, and he didn't say anything. Notting City has the quota, but it just needs to be operated. But with this token, it will be another. Having said that, as for favors, he naturally doesn't care about them. Although this child named Ji-Fei has profound talents, who knows what he will become after entering Wuhandian Academy. Okay, but the quota will take some time, so you can wait a day. I'll do it now. Originally, I was only half sure, but now I can do it. %. By the way, what kind of martial spirit is Izanami? Secret. Tang Heo gave such a simple and slightly rude answer. End of this chapter. Chapter 65 Admission to Wuhandian Academy. 2. Call. Ji-Fei slowly opened his eyes, stepping forward on the carriage, and it was already the 7th day since he and Tang Heo left Notting College. Ji-Fei didn't know the destination of this trip. One day after obtaining the second soul ring, Tang Heo asked him to hire a carriage and tell the driver to go to the border of the Heaven Da Empire. After waiting in Notting College for almost a day, the master rushed back and said that the certificate was ready, and then Tang Heo took him away. Ji-Fei didn't even ask about Tang San's situation in the past year. Just lying in the master's house and having a warm sleep. I originally wanted to take a stroll around Notting College to see the difference between the colleges in this world and the schools in my previous life, but Tang Heo stopped him. Tell him not to go out. The helpless Ji-Fei could only wait. Ji-Fei closed his eyes and rested his mind, feeling the strong and terrifying soul power slowly released from his body, and smiled with relief. After he obtained the second soul ring, just as Tang Heo said, this time he officially stepped into the soul ring. The cultivation of a soul master, and Ji-Fei himself clearly felt that his soul power was much deeper than before. This may be the benefit increase obtained after absorbing the spirit ring. As soon as he recalled the process of killing the unconscious Sahua centipede and absorbing the second soul ring at the end, Ji-Fei felt a little dramatic. After the Sahua centipede was in a coma, it could be said that any defense power did not exist, and even the so-called toxins were only stored in the body. It was the first time that Ji-Fei had seen what is called a sharp existence. The Kunwu sword still exists abnormally. Just as Ji-Fei's claws touched the comatose Sahua centipede, the sharp aura cut the Sahua centipede completely in half. Ji-Fei didn't even have any consciousness yet. The last kill is over. The process of absorbing the soul ring is also the same as before. I don't know if it is because the first soul ring is as high as 1,000 years or what. Ji-Fei's process of absorbing the soul ring this time is very smooth and there is no special accident. In other words, it is the change of the Chaos Villain himself. Ji-Fei feels that the Chaos Villain has really undergone an indescribable special change recently, but Ji-Fei is not so clear about the special place. Anyway, he hasn't let him swallow or spit out treasures recently, has he? Ji-Fei didn't abuse it either, did he? Gradually pulling back his thoughts, Ji-Fei stared at the 7 emotions ring he was wearing on his hand. The round and crystal halo flowed slowly, and the inner halo was particularly beautiful. If he didn't know its real function, he would be afraid that anyone would. Will it be regarded as a beautiful decoration? The halo reflected on the lavender jade in the middle, slowly reflecting Ji-Fei's small face. I didn't observe carefully for a while, but my own changes are so big. Ji-Fei looked at his long dark purple hair tied up. He looked very mature despite his young age. His restrained purple pupils seemed to be able to spy on everything. He had hair that even Douluo envied, and his skin was almost fairer than Douluo's. You said that Ji-Fei is an exquisite female doll. I'm afraid that some people will refute him. Isn't he a little girl in the first place? Originally, he hadn't carefully observed the changes in himself. Now if he looked at it again, it was really huge, as if he couldn't see what his original appearance looked like at all. Luo, we are going to start a new journey next, right? Wuhandian Academy is a place where there is a lot of disputes. I'm so young, and I have to spend a year in that ghostly place, knowing what to do. Alas, is it really too sad? Ji-Fei was helpless. You can't say that. After you enter the academy, you start from the elementary class at most, right? At most, the elementary class is to learn the knowledge of soul masters and endorse things. The rest is just to play carefree, and think about it. How many levels of soul power can your peers achieve? Douluo explained calmly, still leaning on Jifei's neck. Anyway, the academy is of the same nature as the school. How can freshmen who have just entered be so harsh on you? Unless the curriculum of this Wuhandian academy is different from those ordinary academies. Jifei also nodded when he heard the words. Indeed, children of 6 or 7 years old, such as Xiaozhen, who have accumulated a lot of time and money, probably have not reached the 20th level of soul power now, right? And I'm already level 24 now, although I still don't know how to divide the level of soul masters, but just thinking about it like this, I shouldn't suffer any disadvantages in Wuhandian Academy, right? Xiao Fei. Suddenly, Tang Heo, who had been silent all the way, suddenly said, the next year is up to you. You are very smart. I hope you can get away with it. Here, take these 2 certificates, and go sign up. I can't go to that ghost place, and if I go, there will be a lot of trouble. I will come to pick you up in a year. Jifei then took the piece of paper Tang Heo handed over. Wuhandian entrance certificate. Is this the contention that the master made? There is also a certificate of enrollment. Name, Jifei, martial spirit, eyes enemy, age, unknown, soul power level 24, soul ring configuration, yellow, yellow. Enrollment certificate, signed by Ma Xiunuo, the head of the Notting City branch of the Wuhan Temple. Forged, can the age be unknown? Perhaps being unknown is the best way to cover up, but Jifei is very satisfied. Izanama's martial soul can perfectly forge everything about him, even the soul ring is no exception, and he has gone through this period of time. The change has also faded away from the original youthfulness, and has become a normal masculinity, but speaking of it, he doesn't want to use his martial arts. After all, he doesn't want everyone who sees him to call him daughter-in-law, father, mother, sister. Such a thing is very nerve-wracking. The carriage gradually stopped, and the driver outside shouted that he had arrived at the place. Obviously he had reached the place where he felt that he needed to stop. Maybe it was also the place Tang Heo ordered. Jifei was taken aback. Uncle Tang, I will go like this yet? Tang Heo was stunned. Then what else do you want? I can't step into the Wuhan city, and you should have money, right? I don't have to pay the fee to enter the Wuhan city, right? You have enough things, and then it's up to you. Do you think it will be easy to spend a year in Wuhandian Academy? Although you are a freshman, Wuhandian Academy pays attention to gathering things together and dividing people into groups. What should you do? How to show it depends on yourself. Age can be filled in unknown. Martial soul can also be disguised, but your own soul power cannot be faked. But you can rest assured that no one will find out this proof. In fact, if this is not the case, if so, you should have a copy in your 7 emotions ring. Jifei didn't hear the last sentence clearly and jumped out of the carriage. Since he wanted to leave, he did so simply. It was precisely because he wanted to become stronger that he couldn't maintain such an ordinary environment. He doesn't know what kind of existence he will become in the future life of Wuhandian, and what kind of soul master knowledge he can learn. All these make him feel longing and deep fear. Unknown dangers are often the beginning of pain. This is true in life, and it is even more so in cultivation. End of this chapter. Chapter 66, The Entrance Examination of Wuhandian Academy. 1. What the hell kind of place is this? Did Uncle Tang make a mistake? There's no such thing as the Wuhandian Academy here. It's just mountains connecting mountains and rivers. There's not even a shadow of a ghost. I'm freezing to death. Jifei, who was still in high spirits when he got off the carriage, has been in despair for 2 or 3 hours now. There is no other reason. In the middle, although Jifei was not wearing thin clothes, the cold current really pierced his spinal cord. If it wasn't for the fact that his physique had improved during this period of time, Jifei felt that he was already frozen into an ice cube. Isn't the borderline supposed to look like this? Could it be possible to build a peaceful and stable country for you at the border? Luo's voice sounded. Let me warm you up. A massive warm green light flickered and then slowly covered Jifei's body. Ji-Fei subconsciously froze, stared at it with open hands, then touched his face, and let out a little surprise said, "Isn't it cold anymore?" "Of course it's not cold anymore. As I said earlier, I'm very good. I wanted to see your cold tolerance, but I didn't expect it to change at all." Douluo replied. "It hasn't changed, I'm just afraid of the cold." Ji-Fei recalled that the moment he walked in the cold, he felt a burst of fear into his skin. It wasn't cold at this time. Ji-Fei also opened his hands and feet, looking at the mountain pass that was gradually disappearing in the distance. It seemed to be the end of this journey. This Wuhandian Academy. No, what the hell is this Wuhan city built in? Yesterday, I heard from Tang Heo that the end of his itinerary was Wuhan City, which is located on the border of the two empires, and Wuhandian Academy is located in Wuhan City. But after walking for so long, Ji-Fei didn't even have a shadow of him. See, no matter how bad it is, a big city like this should have soul masters walking in it one after another, right? Obviously something is wrong with this. I thought some bandits would come out to rob the place. If you walk this way, no matter how bad it is, you have to say, "I opened this mountain, and I planted this tree." If you want to live on from now on, you can use it to buy road money. Ji-Fei looking at the valley passing by behind him, he shook his head helplessly. It seems that plainness is the main theme, and there is no chance for me to fight at will, which is also helpless. Aren't you looking for a fight? Do you want me to help you? Luo sat on Ji-Fei's shoulder and raised her little hand, smiling at Ji-Fei. Although the smile is very charming, it is also very painful. No, let's forget it. Look, I feel that if we walk through this area where plains and dense forests intersect, we should be able to arrive at Wuhandian College, right? If it's not good enough, we should see Wuhan City, right? At this time Ji-Fei stood on a small transverse slope. The plain and dense forest in front of him seemed vast and endless, but there was definitely an end to it. Then why don't you leave quickly? Have you forgotten what the master told you last? Words of advice? Ji-Fei suddenly remembered something, and then took out the certificate of admission to Wuhandian Academy that Tang Heo gave him, and wrote the time under the signature. There are still 5 days left. These days are the time when Wuhandian Academy recruits newly awakened Wuhan geniuses from all over the world. Children who have just awakened Wuhan for a year from all over the place can go to Wuhan as long as their talents pass the test. Studying in Temple Academy, and there are notes here. Family soul masters are not allowed to accompany you. The test will start automatically when you reach the border. Life and death are up to you. Ji-Fei's expression changed a little. I'm going. Isn't this the so-called entrance exam? Does that count? Every year, the geniuses who have just awakened their martial souls are recruited, as long as they admire the martial arts academy. Can I go there? So as long as I pass the test, I can enter? Then what is the use of my admission certificate? Can I skip the test? You're wrong. We all have proof. Who? Suddenly there was a voice behind him. Ji-Fei originally asked Luo what he said. Besides, Ji-Fei felt that there would be no one in this ghostly place, so he didn't care so much. Didn't expect it to be heard by others? Maybe it was because of the whistling wind, or Ji-Fei didn't notice when there was someone behind, but he didn't expect to find someone for me. Turning around, Ji-Fei looked at the two people behind him, a man and a woman who seemed to be about the same age as him. The boy was wearing the kind of rich and noble brocade clothes, and the cloak wrapped around him was whistling around his ears. The wind blew up slightly, and the girl standing beside him was wearing a fiery red robe, and she looked about the same age as Ji-Fei, but much taller than Ji-Fei, and her appearance was decent. You are? Ji-Fei looked at the two with a slightly mature look. He could feel that the two were not simple, no matter from his own soul power or the appearance of the two. Oh, it may be a bit abrupt. The two of us want to study at Wuhandian Academy just like you, and we can be regarded as freshmen who have obtained the admission certificate. But didn't your family or relatives tell you about entering Wuhandian Academy? Conditions. The man with sword eyebrows and starry eyes looked at Ji-Fei and wondered in his heart that this could not be a woman disguised as a man. How could a man be so delicate? Against the background of the wind, the lavender long hair fluttered slightly. Although the main body was restrained by Ji-Fei's feather crown, the rest of the hair that fell down could only be like this. Ordinary children at this age would either have a small bald head or a small head. The face looks mature, but obviously this does not suit Ji-Fei. Ji-Fei shook his head. I didn't tell you. By the way, my name is Zhu Jiangxing. I come from Fengjianzang, one of the lower 4 sects. This time, I came here to take the entrance examination for Wuhandian Academy. The person next to me is Huorao, who is from one of the lower 4 sects. The purpose of Yi's Fire Leopard sect is the same as mine. I wonder if you are? Zhu Jiangxing stared at Ji-Fei very politely and kindly, and Ji-Fei could tell that the relationship between the two was definitely not normal. Although the woman was looking around at her, it seemed as if she was spying on whether she would feel guilty when she spoke. The atmosphere of looking for the right to speak invisibly also makes people feel that it is not easy. Oh, my name is Ji-Fei. I'm not from any sect. I just want to enter the Wuhandian Academy to learn the knowledge of soul masters. Is there no sect? Huorao on the side stared at Ji-Fei with introverted fiery red eyes. Although they were not very old, they knew a lot. Those who dared to come to Wuhandian Academy were usually people from the lower 4 sects or some who really had talented soul masters. This is also the right to speak in the branch halls of the Wuhan temple in various places. This Ji-Fei looks more attractive than other women, so he shouldn't be too powerful. I'm afraid he should be the son of the master of a branch hall of the Wuhan temple. So I got an admission qualification. It turned out to be Brother G, and I have admired him for a long time. How come meeting Brother G is fate? How about we go together? It may be difficult to find someone to pass through this devil forest, let alone finally enter the Wuhandian Academy. Zhu Jiangxing's peaceful and old-fashioned appearance is a little familiar, but it doesn't seem to be malicious. After all, he is only 6 or 7 years old, and his own soul power can't keep up, so he can only rely on the belief that there are many people and strong strength. Although children like them are only 6 or 7 years old, after possessing soul power and awakening the martial soul, even children are much more powerful than Ji-Fei's 30-year-old adults in his previous life, even though they may not have a soul ring for the martial soul, but the magical effect of Wuhan can almost be displayed. Huorao also looked at Ji-Fei. She naturally didn't reject anything, since she had the courage to come here, and being able to come here, it shows that Ji-Fei is definitely not simple. Isn't the Nether Valley just now the best proof? Ji-Fei was able to walk here alone without being discovered by those cave spirit beasts. Obviously it was not easy. End of this chapter. Chapter 67, the entrance examination of Wuhandian Academy. 2. Oh. Can we be together? If it's really possible, I'd be more than happy. Ji-Fei's first thought was to refuse. After all, he is not familiar with these two people. A familiar physique like Zhu Jiangxing's is the most likely to cause some unnecessary troubles. Although this is a land of wasteland and dense forest, but who knows if these two people have other ideas. However, Ji-Fei still chose to be with them. The reason is very simple. Ji-Fei wanted to know about the general situation of Wuhandian Academy. After all, Tang Heo had never told him about it. He just kept telling him to pay attention to safety. Don't use words like the second martial soul. What a nice view. Zhu Jiangxing looked at Ji-Fei and smiled indifferently, and he froze for a moment. How could this be a boy? This is simply unbelievable. Huorao on the side accidentally saw Zhu Jiangxing's appearance and frowned slightly, then looked at Ji-Fei, as if she wanted to say something, but in the end she didn't say it. Hahaha, look at Zhu Jiangxing's appearance. He seems to regard you as a girl, but you do look a bit like a girl, with lavender hair and delicate face. It feels like, if you let your hair loose and long, it's a girl. Douluo was still smiling at first, but gradually she seemed to get used to it. After all, in her opinion, this was considered perfect. I just want to know something about the situation of Wuhandian Academy from them. No matter what he thinks, he looks like his soul power is only at the 10th level. Even if the two of them have ulterior motives, I can find a way they regret it. Ji-Fei smiled knowingly. Then let's go. As long as we can pass through the devil forest in front of us safely, we can reach Wuhan City. But be careful, there are many 100-year level soul beasts in this devil forest, and even millennium level soul beasts will appear. Soul beasts. Zhu Jiangxing reminded from the side. This devil forest is specially rebuilt by the Wuhandian Academy for the freshmen's exams, and most of the spirit beasts in it are captive bred types. It will definitely not be much weaker. Come on, explain your own martial soul and soul power. so we can also plan how we should pass through this devil forest. Will the 1000-year level soul beasts be released in the freshman exam? Fei didn't have any opinion on Zhu Jiangxing's proposal, proving that even though it was a forgery, the soul power could not be concealed. After all, as long as the martial soul was displayed, nothing could be concealed. But having the Izanami martial soul is easy to say. It is necessary to cover up a little bit. These two people should not ask more questions. Yes, but not too many. Most of them will be 10-year level spirit beasts. The selection conditions of the Wuhandian Academy are the most stringent among the types of soul master organizations I know, regardless of your own age. But it cannot be over 10 years old. As long as the awakened spirit is in this age group, you can participate in this assessment. Of course, the necessary condition is that you must have the admission certificate of Wuhandian Academy to participate in the assessment. And it is precisely because like this, most of the people who come to take the Wuhandian Academy exam are 8 or 9-year-old children who have studied in the family or other academies for a year or two before coming to take the exam. Let's get to know each other formally. My name is Huorao. I'm 8 years old this year. I have a martial spirit of fire leopard, and my spirit power is at the 14th level. Fei took a deep look at Huorao, then nodded. I see. Fei, I'm 7 years old, and my martial spirit is Izanami, with 14th level spirit power. Hearing this, Zhu Jiangxing and Huorao couldn't help but stare at Fei in a daze. Do you have 14th level soul power at the age of 7? Actually otherwise, if Fei told them the real situation, I'm afraid they would be even more surprised. Anyway, Fei has already made the preparations. If he can't make a move, it's better not to expose his true soul power. At worst, we'll just run away and not go around in this broken devil forest with you. What's wrong? Is it weird? Fei smiled slightly and took the initiative to eliminate this embarrassing situation. He already said very low, okay, I'm still thinking about how to explain that my real soul power is level 24 after I really enter the Wuhandian Academy. This will definitely shock everyone. Okay, how should I spend this year in a low-key manner? This is definitely a tough question, brain pain. No, at first I thought Brother G would have 10th level soul power at most, but unexpectedly it is also level 14. It is really powerful. My martial spirit is Xingyu Sword, a 14th level weapon soul master. Zhu Jiangxing was the first after reacting. He suppressed the surprise in his eyes and said to Fei, okay, let's go. The date on the enrollment certificate seems to be coming soon, right? Fei took the initiative to remind. Zhu Jiangxing nodded. That's right. If the final arrival date is passed, the qualification will be automatically erased, and you can only wait another year, or choose another way out. This time, the task given by my sect is to join the martial, otherwise, the consequences will be very serious. Huorao also nodded. Apparently the mission given by her sect seemed to be the same. Fei was puzzled. It was just a college. It should be taken so seriously. No matter how you say it, the next 4 sects should not be too much bad. Cultivating a few powerful soul masters won't consume all the resources of the sect, right? So, Fei, Zhu Jiangxing and Huorao entered the devil forest they overlooked from the high slope. Gloomy point, silence point, boundless. This is the specific summary Fei gave to the Devil's Forest. I have to say that there is indeed something in this place. If you don't pay attention, the specific direction of progress may disappear. Fortunately, Fei's own ability to judge Fangwei is better. Otherwise, if that's the case, I really don't know how to go. But Huorao on the other side is obviously more sensitive. Fei feels that this is the special ability given to her by the fire leopard spirit. Brother G, you don't know the specifics of the Wuhandian Academy, do you? Zhu Jiangxing split the deadwood blocking the way, and then said to Fei who was beside him. Huorao also looked at Fei, as if waiting for his answer. Fei nodded, with a slightly helpless look on his face. I really don't know the general situation of Wuhandian Academy, and I came here to study by accident. Start a beautiful college life, and then learn the knowledge of soul masters. How could you expect that there will be an entrance examination, and it is still in such a forest? PFFT, wouldn't you just be a second generation ancestor who eats, drinks, sleeps, and plays while you're at home? Huo Rao laughed at the sight, but thinking that Jifei's soul power has reached level 14 at the age of 7, it's obviously not right. In line with the situation of the second ancestor. Second generation ancestor? Jifei recalled his life in the past few years, drinking porridge, eating pickles, drinking porridge, eating pickles, eating rabbits. Put it down, if my second generation ancestor still comes here, wouldn't it be fine to practice at home safely? But you two come from a big sect, and you still go to the academy to study. This statement is wrong. Let me tell Brother G about the specific situation of Wuhandian Academy and the reasons why people really yearn for it. End of this chapter. Chapter 68, The Entrance Examination of Wuhandian Academy. 3. Oh. From Brother Zoo's words, is there anything special about Wuhandian Academy compared to other local academies? Jifei obviously became interested in an instant. He spent almost all of this year cultivating how to control his soul power, and he didn't ask Tang Heo anything. What's more, Jifei knew that, even if he asked after Tang Heo must be full of answers. When you arrive, you will naturally know, and now even if you know more, it is of no use. So this is obviously very helpless. No matter how ignorant you are in a relatively unfamiliar environment, you need to understand a general situation, right? Well, that's right. The teaching mechanism of Wuhandian Academy is indeed different from some ordinary academies, even very different. Zhu Jiangxing also nodded, and at the same time, his eyes were still paying attention to whether there were any special movements in the surging and deep dense forest around him from time to time. If there was any danger, he could make preparations in advance. According to Zhu Jiangxing's narration, Jifei also had a general understanding of the Wuhandian Academy in his consciousness. Wuhandian Academy is a college organization under the Wuhandian, the most powerful force in the mainland today, that specializes in selecting talents for Wuhandian. Although Wuhandian Academy has only been established for less than 1,000 years, its internal development institutions and faculty facilities are also all have been perfected, and there are even rumors that the current president of Wuhandian Academy is a titled Douluo level existence. The teaching mechanism of Wuhandian Academy is different from that of ordinary colleges. Ordinary colleges are divided into year-based teaching. This is a dead teaching mechanism. As long as you complete the school year, you can complete the course, and then you can choose what to do next. The symbolic meaning can be said that there is no distinction between teaching and learning. No matter how many students there are, one student is the soul coin of one student, and such colleges often only teach ordinary knowledge. But Wuhandian Academy is different. They have an active teaching mechanism, and the students who have just entered school will not teach any special knowledge about soul masters, but will follow a senior soul master teacher and communicate with other soul masters. A number of soul masters of the same year form a team, and under the leadership of the team leader teacher, complete a series of tasks issued by the Central Academy of Wuhandian Academy. When listing practical skills, and these so-called missions are basically the records of the soul masters who were killed by the rebellion according to the statistics of the subordinate halls, and the characters who dispatched the team were to hunt or complete these missions. Of course, the premise is that there is a senior soul master accompanying, is the leader of the team, Mr. Shoulder, and the soul masters they plundered or eliminated were given a unified title by Wuhandian Academy, Evil Soul Masters. The types of evil soul masters are not uniform. They may be members of a certain force, or good soul masters during the day and emissaries of souls at night. Some of them are bloodthirsty, and some of them are full of eccentricities. And in this kind of small team, it may be composed of 3, 5 or even 7 people. They are not divided according to the various responsibilities of the soul master. The purpose of Wuhandian Academy is also very simple. Entering Wuhandian Academy, we want soul masters to learn the knowledge of various positions from various aspects. Even if you are a control type soul master, it is possible for you to learn the knowledge of auxiliary type soul masters or attack type soul masters method of fighting. And this kind of teaching mechanism, that seems to be mindless, but actually hides the universe, can be realized by Wuhandian Academy. After all, Wuhandian Academy is based on the forces between the two empires, and its background is unimaginably deep. These academies can complete tasks in various places, to achieve combat in different regions and the knowledge of soul masters in various places, so as to achieve true all-round learning without dead ends. Unlike Soul Master Academies in other places, Wuhandian Academy insists on sending real Soul Master talents to Wuhandian, and since I have the consciousness to study in Wuhandian Academy, I naturally hope that after graduation, I can go directly to the Wuhandian Academy, enter the Wuhandian to work, or become a member of it. After all, Wuhandian is a holy place for cultivation that everyone yearns for. Since you are not a soul master, when you hear the word Wuhandian, you can't help but feel awe, because they are the enlightening stars of all kinds of soul masters. They help the children of farmers to awaken their spirits, let them have a glimmer of hope, let them have a longing for this vast world. There was once a terrifying existence standing in the world who said, you may not understand Wuhandian, and feel that it is ambitious, and thinks that it will use any means to achieve its goals, but you have not seen what its function is. It can be generous. To what extent? Is this the way of teaching? Fei recalled that it was better to talk about direct practice than to say that this is learning. There is always too much knowledge in books. In such an ever-changing world, mere rote memorization is definitely not enough, and Wuhandian Academy should also. I saw the disadvantages in it, that is, the knowledge taught may not be used by soul masters in their lifetime, and even if they use the knowledge taught, must it be the best way? The so-called test out the truth. How is it? Brother G, are you looking forward to it too? By the way, Brother G, has your family told you what route your martial soul is going to take in the future? I have never heard of the martial soul of Izanami. Can you tell us something? Zhu Jiangxing squinted and smiled. What route? Are you talking about the route to control something? Fei asked back. It seems that the original book in his memory does have such a generalization. Martial souls can be divided into several systems according to different attributes. Is it possible that you don't even know the battle system of soul masters? Huo Rao stared at Fei in amazement. I really can't believe how you managed to reach the 14th level. Fei was a little embarrassed. These original works were indeed mentioned, but he had completely forgotten about them. After all, he hadn't read the full text. It seems that, when I watched it, it had just finished not long ago, right? Who knows? Ahem. Since Brother G doesn't know, let me tell Brother G about the general situation of the Soul Master's combat system. This point is also very important for future cultivation. Maybe future instructors will also focus on this, but it's not an exaggeration to say it now. I also learned it in the sect. Zhu Jiangxing thought for a while, then let's take me and Huo Rao as a reference. Fei nodded. Knowing more about things would not be a disadvantage. Luo scouted around and felt that the Devil Forest is not as simple as it seems on the surface. Although the weather is cold, the soul beasts may also hibernate, but the spirit beasts of Wuhandian Academy, there must be a reason why the admission time is placed when the year is approaching such a severe cold. It can be said that Luo is the only one Fei can trust. It may be a bit paranoid to say so, but Fei can feel that there seems to be an invisible thread between him and Luo that has been pulling the two of them. Come to recommend, add another chapter. End of this chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69, The Entrance Examination of Wuhandian Academy. 4. My martial soul is the Xingyu sword, which is a kind of weapon martial soul. I'm only 8 years old this year, but have 14th level soul power. This age can be said to be unique in our Wind Sword sect. Brother G, don't make fun of me boasting. This is a fact. If it weren't for the fact that our next 4 sects don't have as rich resources as the last one, I actually don't need to come to this Wuhandian Academy to study. The route I take is the assault department. Fei could clearly see the helplessness on Zhu Jiangxing's face. Indeed, how could it be possible that the entire Douluo Continent revolved around Xiaozhen and that group of people who were geniuses? At the age of 8, he possessed 14th level soul power, but Fei didn't ask too much. After all, he and himself are not familiar enough to just tell you about the daily practice of cultivation, right? But this Zhu Jiangxing is indeed a genius, and his kind personality is enough to make him do well in the future. In fact, he didn't face as many long ocean slaps as he thought. People who are 6 or 7 years old should not be young. Let's make a fuss and have fun, okay? Our martial soul can be divided into weapon martial soul and beast martial soul. Generally, according to the characteristics of martial soul, it can be divided into various soul master routes, which is what I call the development direction of soul masters. Like my sword, I can't control the attributes that should be controlled, and I can't assist, and it's impossible to increase my own speed, so I can only be preemptive, which also involves the level of the assault system, and my first soul ring is a century-old named Giant A-level plant soul ring. The ability to give me a martial soul is also to enhance sharpness, and Huo Rao is different. Zhu Jiangxing looked at Huo Rao, who was at the side, and just wanted to explain. Huo Rao but spoke. Let me say it myself. It's not a good thing that what you tell me may not be comprehensive. Huo Rao frowned. How should I put it? Zhu Jiangxing was stunned for a moment and didn't continue to say anything. He only waited for Huo Rao to tell Ji Fei what he knew about soul masters after she had finished explaining her own martial soul characteristics. Ji Fei looked at Huo Rao. He couldn't see anything about this Huo Rao. He felt that she seemed to be hostile to him. Maybe it was his own illusion. Anyway, let's hear what she can say. Huo Rao gathered the rope of her cloak and then said slowly, my martial spirit is a fire leopard, and my fire leopard is a special mutant fire leopard, so the speed of cultivation is also very fast, which is different from Zhu Jiangxing's. Similarly, the route I take is the agility attack system. The reason is very simple. The leopard's eruption speed is extremely fast, and my martial soul also has a special fire attribute. The so-called agility attack focuses on my own speed, which can be obtained from various quickly and accurately attack the opponent's center control, and also end the ordinary control type soul masters. Zhu Jiangxing on the side also nodded. That's right. A general soul master team is based on 7 people, and the center of a soul master team is also controlled by a control type soul master, and then there are auxiliary soul masters. Strong attack and sensitive attack even have reconnaissance soul masters in some cases, but relative to their effect, they are not that great. Oh, then my martial spirit is just right for this control system soul master. Ji Fei didn't release his eyes enemy spirit. The reason was even simpler. He didn't want these 2 people to suddenly yell at him to such an extent that he would be very embarrassed. My martial soul eyes enemy is a special type of beast martial soul. Its function is to have the attribute of soul control. How can I explain it to you two? Anyway, it can control others by restraining others. This control is the transfigured form, can be a mass of grass or a vine, but these are all illusory, and it is just my enemy martial soul transformed through the soul power. As for my first soul skill, I'll let you guys experience it when I have a chance in the future. Such a strange martial soul? Can it be transformed into a form to restrain it? Zhu Jiangxing rubbed his chin as if thinking, but he couldn't judge anything without seeing the real effect. However, if it is true what Brother G said, the control system is indeed a very correct choice, then the 3 of us can almost form a team of soul masters. Although this is only temporary, it can definitely explode. What a powerful fighting force. Zhu Jiangxing was vaguely excited. He originally planned to continue searching, or wait for people who had not passed through the canyon, to form a team with them to pass through the devil forest, but after waiting for a long time, he met Ji Fei. I can only treat a dead horse as a living horse, doctor. I didn't expect that Ji Fei would bring him such a big surprise. Huo Rao also nodded at the side. She looked at Ji Fei and seemed a little hesitant. If you have any questions, just ask. Don't hold back. Since we are going to cross this dangerous devil forest, we need to know the basics. Ji Fei has a keen insight into Huo Rao's doubts, and now it is undoubtedly to eliminate the invisible hostility best time. Huo Rao's pretty face flushed slightly, and then unexpectedly asked a question that made Ji Fei feel ashamed instantly. Are you a man or a woman? Am I a man or a man? Ji Fei almost ran away immediately. My sister, look carefully. Although I'm fairer and more delicate, how can I be a woman? And do you think I look like a woman? Is it because the masculinity is not obvious enough? Huo Rao was taken aback for a moment. She didn't expect Ji Fei to give such a series of answers, and she could feel that Ji-Fei wasn't cheating on her, and there was nothing hidden about the innocence in his eyes. I was the one to be abrupt. I thought you were a woman disguised as a man. Huorao said embarrassedly. Oh my god, what's wrong with the little girls in this world? Can't even recognize men and women? I'll go. I'm afraid this Huorao will regard me as a rival in love. You just noticed it. Douluo suddenly appeared again at some point. People have been walking like this all the way. You are willing to intervene, and you look so much like a woman. No matter who it is, I'm also hostile to you. Don't look at this little girl who is only 8 years old and her mind is more mature than normal people. Also, someone is fighting with a spirit beast over there. It seems that there are 2 men and a woman, and they are facing a very powerful spirit beast. According to my deduction, the 3 of them should die soon. Gone. Douluo's little finger pointed to the direction of the guide, and Ji-Fei's gaze followed it quickly. The south seemed to be shrouded in a hazy mist, and the howling cold air from all around was constantly harassing, giving people a daunting feeling. Brother Zhu, someone in the south of us had a battle with the soul beast, and was about to lose. Would you like to help? Ji-Fei quickly gave up his choice. Listen to him? Oh. Is anyone fighting the soul beast? Zhu Jiangxing was stunned, and at the same time he looked to the south. He didn't find anything, except a cloud of deep mist that couldn't be seen clearly. If it's true what Brother Ji said, then we'd better not meddle in our own business. After all, it's nothing to do, just hang yourself high. The most important thing is to live in this devil forest, and since they have the consciousness to step into the devil forest, they will not be alone, and must have made a choice to face death. Although the examination rules of the Wuhandian Academy do not stipulate that they must fight on their own, they don't want too many people. Zhu Jiangxing looked at Ji-Fei with some difficulty. Brother Ji, do you know that? Ji-Fei smiled slightly. Don't play charades. I understand the truth, and I didn't say help. Both Zhu Jiangxing and Huorao took a deep look at Ji-Fei, and suddenly, the 2 of them seemed to seeing Ran's evil spirit in Ji-Fei's deep lavender eyes. This evil spirit seemed to regard everything as a plaything generally, including soul masters, life. What? In order for the 2 of them to come back to their senses, a series of sharp roars rang out in the deep southern forest. It seemed to be the hoarse cry of a woman. It turned out that there was really someone. End of this chapter. Chapter 70, The Entrance Examination of Wuhandian Academy. 5. Save, not help. These are 2 concepts, and they can also lead to 2 completely different results. Ji-Fei is not a good man and a believer. Although he is only 6 or 7 years old, he knows what to do and what not to do. As Zhu Jiangxing said, it is absolutely not worthwhile to go there and encounter unknown soul beasts. If the soul beasts they encounter are very powerful, what should they do? Could it be that he has fallen into a desperate situation? What's more, people who don't know each other, in the world of Douluo Continent, the expectation of others is the cruelty of oneself. Okay, let's go quickly, maybe the soul beast will find us later. Ji-Fei didn't say much. Anyway, the death of Howling and Falling must have become a fact, and judging from this situation, if so, even if Ji-Fei had just rescued them, would he be able to save them? After all, the wailing sound was conveyed not long after the voice fell. Zhu Jiangxing nodded. He had already made a conclusion in his heart. If Ji-Fei wanted to save him, he and Huorao would have left by themselves. After all, the dangerous moment is hidden in the devil's forest, and the perennial mist can kill a person. Most of the people were trapped inside to death. Don't worry too much, I'll tell you a secret. Luo whispered next to Ji-Fei's ear. Actually, as long as I'm by your side, no soul beast will be able to find us. Sexuality, so the 2 of them will not be found by spirit beasts. This was the case when I walked through the canyon before. I sensed a lot of spirit beasts on the walls of that canyon very early. Ji-Fei looked at the bored Douluo lying on his shoulder. Little Douluo is indeed my appointed wife. She always thinks of me. Heh. Don't be silly. I just don't want to see such a foolish master like you die so ugly, even though your own soul power is as high as level 24. I'm afraid it's hard to escape from such a difficult predicament, and it's too easy to expose you the true strength of the. Ji-Fei expressed his affirmation. Indeed. So now can it be said that I can go directly across this devil's forest and arrive at the Wuhandian Academy? Douluo nodded. The attribute of life is like this. It creates all things and integrates all things. The life that shapes the environment can then integrate itself into such an environment, so it can become a member of the big environment. The Scopies, that I can protect the two next to you now. It seems that the two of them are relatively lucky. After listening to Douluo's explanation, Fei let go of the original worries in his heart, and the speed under his feet increased in vain. Don't want to stay for a second. Seeing that Fei's speed suddenly increased, Zhu Jiangxing didn't say anything. According to his own calculations, this is still the correct route, and the strength of the three of them is definitely at the top level among the Soul Masters participating in the year-end assessment. If none of them can pass, then I'm afraid that no one else will be able to pass. And Huorao thought that Fei's strategy should be to pass through the Devil Forest quickly, and then everything would be over. Anyway, her own speed is extremely fast, so there is no need to worry about anything. Leopards are still safe from danger. The perception of the special breath is beyond the reach of most Soul Masters. She doesn't feel any danger at the moment, so she doesn't need to say anything to remind her. The dense darkness gradually disappeared, and Fei seemed to have finally walked out of this so-called strange circle of the Devil's Forest after a long walk for several hours. There should be quite a few young Soul Masters for the assessment, but Fei never saw or heard anything about it except for the team that was wiped out by the Soul Beasts at the beginning when they were traveling through the Devil Forest. Luo had been leaning on her shoulders and didn't say much. Anyway, everything was going back to normal. During this period, Fei suddenly felt like what would it be like without Luo's protection? Will he be chased by those terrifying soul beasts hiding in the forest? Or is it a big scene where he fights side by side with Zhu Jiangxing and Huorao? In the end, he ran away alone. Unfortunately, there was nothing. Fei seemed to have passed through a long tunnel. In addition to the low pitching sound of branches and the rubbing sound of leaves beside his ears, despite the cold winter, there were still many dense forests in this Devil Forest. It's a big tree, but who knows what the species is? This time, through the long darkness, Fei and the others finally saw a city standing in front of them. Is it the Wuhandian or the Wuhandian Academy? What Zhu Jiangxing explained was that what Fei saw now was the city of Wuhandian Academy. Only after passing through the Wuhandian Academy and going deeper could he reach the majestic Wuhan city standing at the border of the two empires. There is no special existence in Wuhan city. Most of the Soul Masters gather in the outer city, where Wuhandian Academy is located. It's just an outer city, but looking at it from a distance, it seems that a large army of troops standing majestically has emerged from this vast and endless plain. It is said that the Wuhandian Academy is located behind this city wall, and it is said to be a guarded city wall, but in fact, most of it is surrounded by the rock walls of the mountain. How is it? Do you feel that being able to join Wuhandian Academy has become a very fortunate thing? Zhu Jiangxing also looked horrified. Although he often heard the elders in the sect talk about how powerful and majestic Wuhandian Academy is, seeing it today really subverted his imagination. The power of Wuhandian. This is the power of Wuhandian Academy. Indeed, if this is just a Wuhandian Academy, it should surpass many large cities, right? Fei exclaimed. To be honest, even those large cities in the previous life may not be able to compare with the current Wuhandian Academy. The outer city of Wuhan City is magnificent. Huorao said from the side. It is said that there are tens of thousands of Soul Masters in the outer city of Wuhan City, and almost all of them come from Wuhandian Academy. Wuhandian Academy does not have a specific school year system, so it is said to graduate it's up to themselves, but what they all yearn for should be the inner city of Wuhan City. After all, isn't that the cradle for college students to realize their dreams? That's equivalent to a more advanced academy. Fei said lightly. Let's go. I feel like we should be the first ones to arrive at the registration office. After all, we didn't even see half a soul beast along the way. Zhu Jiangxing's gaze involuntarily set on Fei. You said yes, brother G. Hahaha, probably. End of this chapter. Chapter 71 Rules of Wuhandian Academy. 1. On the outside of Wuhan City is the Death Academy known throughout the continent, Wuhandian Academy. What is Death Academy? Why does it have such a peculiar title? The student death rate is the highest, and the student graduation rate is the lowest, because most of the students who did not graduate basically died. According to what Zhu Jiangxing said, there is only one gate leading directly to the outer city of Wuhan City, which is very convenient, and the people living in the entire outer city are subordinates of Wuhan Palace. All kinds of soul masters. And the superior geographical location at the junction of the two empires has also enabled the Wuhandian Academy to develop very rapidly, and its inner academy includes all kinds of geniuses from various sects of the two empires. After all, those who are not geniuses are already dead. Outside of the secret valley in the Devil's Forest, outside the city gate, Ji Fei stood there staring blankly at the towering city wall in front of him. There were quite a few soul masters gathered around. They were not very old and Ji Fei should not be much different from each other. They each formed a small group and watched cautiously. Other small groups all around. It seems that we are not the first to arrive. Ji Fei looked at the soul masters of these small groups. They seemed to be somewhat flustered, and they also looked a little embarrassed. The cold wind kept whistling, and the weather was relatively cold, but the soul master's physique was relatively better, and naturally he was not afraid of the cold. Ji Fei was completely accidental. He seemed to be naturally afraid of the cold. This point Ji Fei himself couldn't figure it out. During the years in Saint Soul Village, Tang San could be said to have practiced in summer and winter, but Ji Fei obviously couldn't do it. He hardly went out in winter, so he squatted next to the forging furnace. Warm up. But we should be the easiest one, right? Zhu Jiangxing didn't care about these rankings. Anyway, no matter how early these small groups came, they still stood outside and waited. There seemed to be mentors who signed up there, but why don't they sign up? Huo Rao pointed to a middle-aged man at the gate of the city. He was sitting by the table with his eyes slightly closed, as if he didn't care about the students who passed by. Waiting. Ji Fei looked at Huo Rao. This mentor is waiting for everyone to arrive here. No, it should be said that he will proceed to the next step after everyone arrives here within the specified time. You see, the city gate is tightly closed now, and some people around me may have been waiting for a long time, and there were somewhat impatient expressions on their faces, but they didn't dare to say anything. Obviously this middle-aged man told them the rules a long time ago. Do you want to get off your horse? Huo Rao unexpectedly thought of such an inappropriate and unharmonious adjective. We are only 6 or 7 years old. What kind of prestige can Wuhandian Academy give us? You see, there is probably no one over 10 years old among the people gathered here. Sure enough, there will never be a shortage of geniuses in this world. It is really a good choice to come to Wuhandian Academy for further study. Zhu Jiangxing slowly clenched his fists. It's time for Feng Jianzhang to produce a title Douluo. By the way, Brother Zhu, is there still an assessment going on? Ji Fei is still very concerned about this, but he is not worried that there will be any difficult things to solve. It shouldn't be very difficult for children who are young, right? After all, the Devil's Forest has already wiped out a large group of guys who have no strength and no luck. Brother G, like us, if you have an admission certificate, you don't need to go to the assessment. If you don't have an admission certificate, you need to test whether your soul power and martial spirit meet the requirements. But after entering the Wuhandian Academy for 3 months afterwards, there will be an entrance examination for freshmen. If you fail the examination, you will be ruthlessly kicked out of Wuhandian Academy, no matter how powerful your backstage is, even if you are the son of titled Douluo. You have to obey in a strange way. Didn't you say that those who can come here must have obtained the admission certificate of Wuhandian Academy? What's the matter? Do people here still have a certificate? Ji Fei looked at Zhu Jiangxing strangely. What Zhu Jiangxing said just now was different from what they said when they first met. Zhu Jiangxing was a little embarrassed. Well, in fact, I can't fully summarize it. What I told Brother G before was only part of it, and I thought that, since Brother G has the admission certificate, he must know what the certificate is for. HMPH, don't you just want to trick someone into forming a team of 3? Huo Rao whispered from the side. Brother Ji Fei, this Zhu Jiangxing actually forgot to tell you a rule, so it's the next one. Assessment. A special Malay assessment. Malay assessment? Ji Fei felt that he was definitely deceived by these two people about a lot of things, but after thinking about it carefully, he couldn't say that they deceived him. He could only blame himself for asking 3 questions and not knowing. Yeah. Huo Rao nodded. Look at these small groups. There are 3 people in a team. From this, you should be able to see that this is definitely not a coincidence, right? The last assessment of the Wuhandian Academy is related to this. To put it simply, among these soul masters, there are some soul masters who have not been certified. Their strength is not bad, but they may not have been approved by the local Wuhandian proof, so they will come here directly and wait to be cut off. Gee, who? Cut what? Is it the admission certificate of Wuhandian Academy? Fei was a little confused. That's right, that's it. In fact, the entrance examination of Wuhandian Academy is not that strict. They don't value your background and identity. As long as you are not an evil soul master who endangers everyone, you can almost choose to enter Wuhandian Academy study, but the necessary condition is that you must have the life to enter Wuhandian Academy to study. And it is obvious that those of us who have the admission certificate of Wuhandian Academy have become the prey in the eyes of those who do not have a certificate. They can only enter Wuhandian Academy to study if they have obtained a certificate, and although those who have the certificate of Wuhandian Academy seem to have no need to care about not getting the final certificate, they also need to protect their own certificate from being snatched by others. Is it possible to enter, even if the name and spirit are different? Fei asked in amazement, and suddenly Fei felt that the proof he had finally forged was just a weak provocation. Naturally, the system is different. After you enter the Wuhandian Academy to study, you will have a special senior soul master mentor to guide your cultivation. You don't have to worry about things like Wuhan and soul power. Anyway, the necessary conditions it is to protect the proof of yourself and finally enter the Wuhandian Academy alive. Zhu Jiangxing looked at Fei. Brother G, this is also the reason why I want to form a group with you, because I have seen you since the first time I saw you. I feel that you are not simple, and from that special breath, I feel that you are more powerful than the 2 of us combined. Fei pondered for a while. Is it a team of 3 people? Then maybe we will study together in the future? Huorao shook her head when she heard the words. It's not certain, because after entering Wuhandian Academy, you will be divided into tutors. It all depends on luck. I really want to be with Jiangxing. Cough cough cough. Fei was a little embarrassed. He was just a light bulb, so forget it, and change the subject quickly. Then how many of them do you think there will be no admission certificates? What method should we choose to protect our admission certificates? Ding dong. More delivery will be added during the recommendation period. End of this chapter. Chapter 72 Rules of Wuhandian Academy. 2. How to protect your admission certificate. Zhu Jiangxing kept murmuring. Obviously he hadn't thought of this yet. All he thought about before was how to find a person to form a small team, and he almost didn't think about the next thing. Although he claimed that his IQ is not low, but it can't control the overall situation, right? Oh, if there were only me and Huora before, what we considered was to avoid fighting with others as much as possible. After all, even high-level soul masters like us cannot take turns to withstand the attacks of those soul masters, and these soul masters without certificates are more or less hostile to those of us who have certificates, and they will never attack lightly. Yes, the wheel battle is something no soul master wants to encounter. I heard that many soul masters will fall every time they reach this level. The reason why Giant Crossing didn't want to rescue those people is also the same. After all, I don't know if their identities will end up being our enemies. Huo Rao explained from the side. Then it's okay now. Our small team of 3 should naturally change our method. We don't need to be intimidated, but we have proved that we don't need to launch meaningless battles. Just wait and see what happens. People don't offend me. If we don't have proof, then it's fighting. Fei looked at Zhu Jiangxing and Huo Rao. Now they are the grasshoppers on the same boat. Although he cannot be with them, it is obvious that Fei does not have such an idea. Only under the cover of more people can he be safe to hide their strength. Moreover, the competition for certificates and the entrance test of Wuhandian Academy are undoubtedly tailor-made for Fei. You only need to have a certificate to enter and study there. If you don't consider such an acquisition process for the time being, then Fei doesn't have to care about it at all. Have you proved your level 24 soul power? And there is another point that Fei can't understand. Since even the martial soul certificate can be forged, why didn't Uncle Tang let the master hide his soul power level together? Is it simply because once the martial soul is activated, it cannot be hidden? Obviously this is not applicable to Fei. After all, Fei possesses Izanami martial soul and can condense a unique illusion to cover his surroundings. Forget it. What are you thinking about so much? Just welcome the next attack of the robber. Try to hide your own soul power before revealing your full strength. Use the first soul skill to cast illusions to cover the first soul ring. Haha. And then simply use my second soul ability to fight. Thinking of his second soul skill, Fei felt a little hopeful. Although he knew the specific effect on Izanami's martial soul, Fei himself hadn't fully used it. This second soul ring came from the soul ring of the 900-year level soul beast Sahua centipede. Time passed slowly, and according to his calculations, Fei concluded that today should be the best day, so when night fell, the scramble should start, right? As predicted. When the night gradually occupied the sky, the entire outer city of Wuhan City shone with brilliant lights, directly illuminating most of the plain, and suddenly many soul masters wearing black cloaks appeared around them. Some stood on the top of the city wall, and some stood far away from the border of the city wall, lowering their heads and falling into silence. Since Fei arrived, there have only been 2 pairs of 6 people, and no one has been able to reach here until now. No one knows whether they died or ran back alive. Most of them are dead, right? If it is really a terrifying and harsh selection, I'm afraid that those soul masters who have never lived in Wuhandian Academy think that Wuhandian Academy is a place where they can enter and study as long as they have an identity. No, this is really the purgatory of death. This is really the place where the strong come to the pinnacle. After all, no matter how powerful the status is, in the eyes of Wuhandian, it is just as vulnerable as being destroyed. Okay, congratulations to you little guys who have successfully become half of the students of Wuhandian Academy. At the same time, I also feel extremely sorry for you, because next you will experience a real baptism of blood and mourning. Will kill or be killed by others. Don't be nervous, since you have the ability to come here. Your own awareness and belief will be the top existence among the new generation in the mainland, and there may be 6 or 7 years old, or he is 8 years old, 9 years old and 10 years old, but these are not important. The philosophy that our Wuhandian Academy upholds is that the strong alive. The meaning of this sentence is very simple. Only alive can have the right to speak. You can use any mean and shameless. You can kneel down in front of the enemy and beg for mercy, or you can dedicate everything to begging him not to kill you. As long as you can survive in the end, everything is worth it. We hope to see the killing and hope that you will not be killed. So let's start. The night is a fig leaf to cover up your crimes. Only this layer of light shines on your bloody glory. Fight with those who you feel have proof. Only those who survive can enter the Academy of Wuhandian, and only those who wait until tomorrow. The battle in front of you can only end when the sun shines. That's right. The middle-aged man who had squinted his eyes was the chief examiner this time. He sensed the coming of night and opened his eyes to look at the soul masters surrounding the entire outer city gate, praising the martial arts that belonged to him. The final admission decision of Soul Palace Academy. Everyone became tense. Some excitedly began to rub their fists. Some were worried that Wei retreated to the side and was pulled back by the people beside him. Some looked around as if looking for prey. Some people who are vigilant are touching their arms with small hands around them. Fei smiled slightly. Although these people looked like 2 to 5 to 80,000 people, they seemed to be in a mess when they really encountered something scary or something they couldn't solve themselves. They just wanted to escape. After all, it's just a group of children who are no more than 10 years old. No matter how well-rounded their minds are, they can't really adapt to the scene in front of them. Are you really going to kill someone? Huo rousted aside and whispered. Then haven't you ever killed a soul beast? When you kill a soul beast, it feels like a soul beast kills. Fei said lightly. Don't have too much burden. We just need to protect our own proofs. Enough. Then we besieged a triangle so that we can observe the enemies around in all directions, and this way we can react as soon as possible to deal with the opponents. As long as we are not besieged by everyone, there are basically no big surprises. At the time, when the current period has not been dispatched, Zhu Jiangxing made a suggestion. Ji Fei shook his head when he heard the words, "We still don't want to be too defensive. In this case, don't we tell others that we have proof? Let's do this." End of this chapter. Chapter 73 Rules of Wuhandian Academy 3. Is this really good? Zhu Jiangxing looked at the smiling Ji Fei in a strange way. He always felt that what Ji Fei said was a very weird idea, but it seemed to be reasonable. What's so good about it? Now we don't know how many people don't have admission certificates, and there don't seem to be many people here, but there are actually hundreds of them, and most of them should be a mixed team. There shouldn't be any unanimity, right? A little bit of disagreement is enough to make them fight on their own. And we just need to muddy this pool of water as muddy as possible, and then quietly watch the tigers fight. If you are really worried, it's okay. Let's fight them. If you want, first consider how many teams out of the hundreds of people have no admission certificates. Giant crossing. What Ji Fei said is correct. This method should be feasible. Look at the cautious expressions on each of their faces. It is obvious that no one wants to make the first move. Although this situation is not good for us, there is no disadvantage, but this is definitely the only quiet time before the storm, and we don't know if the battle will affect us, so let's follow Ji Fei's suggestion first. Zhu Jiangxing was taken aback. I just said that it might be unbearable to do so, and I didn't say that it can't be implemented. Brother Ji, then do as you say. Ah. Ji Fei nodded, and then suddenly looked at the group of people on the side. Ji Fei's nose has always been very sensitive. No, it should be said that it became extremely sensitive after obtaining the Izanami martial soul. People have stories. There are also 3 people in this team. The 3 children who are at least a few years older than Ji Fei should have reached the limit age of 10 years old. Such children's own soul power level will definitely not be low. Although it is a bit lacking to start with them, this is what Ji Fei values. Ji Fei walked over slowly and suddenly said loudly, "Wow, what is this beautiful paper of yours? Why do you all have it? Is this the admission certificate of Wuhandian Academy?" The sound was originally very loud, and in the originally silent environment, almost everyone present heard it. All their eyes fell on the 3 of them in an instant, and Ji Fei stared at it with admiration. One of them said, "Big brother, are you from a rich family? I heard from my mother that only rich people have such a certificate. Can you show me?" Wow, what a beautiful child. What a delicate face, and that long lavender hair. Little boys are so exquisite, they will definitely not lie. You see, he must have a good mother to teach him, and he must live in a beautiful and warm family. Most of the people present focused on Ji Fei and the 3 of them. The 3 of them stared at Ji Fei in a daze. The 3 of them couldn't understand what Ji Fei said at all. What proof? Where do they have any proof? Just now the 3 of them were still wondering who should be the first to kill, and how to get the admission certificate after the first kill. But what is the general situation now? Let's go. The 3 of them must have a certificate of enrollment. Such a cute kid will never deceive anyone, and you can see that they look around with introverted eyes, and you look at the hand stretched out of Wei Wen's arms, just trying to cover up. Besides, a round fat man pointed to the 3 people standing beside Ji Fei and said, "Boy, you are looking for death." Hearing this, one of the 3 men finally realized that Ji Fei wanted to let them into the water. The 3 of them don't have any admission certificates at all, and they originally thought about killing other people with certificates to get them, but they didn't expect to draw everyone's attention to them now. "And are you all fools?" he said. "We already have it." Ji Fei, don't ask. If you ask, they think I'm cute. They will never deceive people, and I didn't deceive them either. Maybe it's because I misunderstood. In an instant, 1/3 of the people who had been watching coldly approached from a distance, and Ji Fei quickly shook his head. "Ah. It's scary. It's scary. Mom is right. Nobles are scary. Open your mouth and kill me. I still want to enter Wuhandian Academy to study." Then, without saying much, he ran away. Those people watched Ji Fei escape and didn't care about it because they only had the admission certificate in their eyes. There are all 3 of these people, so let's kill these 3 people first and then use their own abilities to seize these 3 certificates. Borzoi. Possession. Moki. Drop a piece. Restrain. Sword bamboo. Show. The first soul skill, the sword rises to 3000. The gorgeous martial spirits became more colorful under the light curtain of the big environment. Fei turned sideways and looked at the martial spirits released by this group of people and the circled soul rings, which were somewhat bewildered. What? Wow, are the talents of this group of people so good? All 100-year-old spirit rings? And I've never even heard of these martial spirits. Do you want to? Fei suddenly wanted to sneak into the crowd and release. He came out with his chaotic martial soul and began to frantically devour the soul power of this group of people, and then his martial soul increased rapidly. But Fei soon gave up on this idea. The reason is also very simple. These people are too cruel. Although each of them is not very old, their soul power is completely reckless when they are released. I saw a person outside holding a black stick with a 100-year-old soul ring around it, casting the soul at the moment of force. The smog was lingering, and a little bit of sparks gradually enlarged, and in an instant, a wall of fire surrounded the entire venue, and a person on the side was holding a bowl-shaped object, and a gurgling light blue water rushed out at an extremely fast speed. Put out the wall of fire. Renzuki, what are you doing? Why are you destroying the range controlling soul skills released by me? If you don't want to form a team, you can get out, and don't bother us to get the 3 precious admission certificates. Damn. It's not you who shouted, hurry up and release your soul skills, to grab the admission certificate. Don't you know that Laotzu's martial soul is a clear water bowl with a martial soul of the water attribute? You dare to scold Laotzu? Okay. Since if I can't get it, then you don't want it either. Look at my first soul skill. Flowing water without trace. Fire extinction. Come on, I'd like to see how powerful your fire-breaking attribute martial soul burning fire rod is. Just as Fei thought, many of their teams were put together at random, and there was no united combat effectiveness at all, and even the combined combat effectiveness would be greatly reduced. At this moment, Zhu Jiangxing was completely stupefied when he saw this scene. Isn't this scene too chaotic? But just 3 unwarranted admission certificates can cause such a scuffle. If the admission certificates really appear, what kind of battle will it cause? This point is unbelievable at all. He only knows that relying on his own ability is absolutely unstoppable. Brother G. Zhu Jiangxing looked at Fei, who was walking slowly and turning his head every step of the way. Suddenly, a feeling of admiration rose in his heart. This is called melee. With 3 people in exchange for a night of melee, we can sit back and relax. Okay, let's find a good angle to watch the show. Sooner or later, this fierce battle will ignite everyone present. Of course. Basically, people who really have a proof of admission will not be stupid enough to participate. But is this group of people really so simple-minded? Based on your one-sided words, they really believe it? Huorao asked doubtfully from the side. Well, maybe it's personal charm. Fei shook his hand. The 3 vicious people will die. As soon as they die, don't have any psychological pressure. Okay. Obviously, this sentence was specifically addressed to Zhu Jiangxing and Huorao. Zhu Jiangxing also seemed to recall a little detail just now, and then he explained to Huorao the reason for Fei's words, what is meant by a very vicious person, and what kind of a vicious method. End of this chapter. Chapter 74. It's so bloody, and I didn't feel that soul masters who didn't have an enrollment certificate can be so powerful. Zhu Jiangxing froze in place. He looked at the flying and chaotic soul power, the rippling flames, and the spiky boulders lying on the ground, as if they were fireworks in a prosperous age. Maybe they should have been killed too involved. But it was precisely because of Fei's seemingly stupid, but miraculously effective idea, that they were able to avoid such a big melee. Fei pinched his temples with ease, feeling sleepy. To be honest, watching this group of fights is really meaningless. This feeling of sitting on a mountain and watching tigers fight seems very comfortable, but in fact very boring. Hand over your enrollment certificates. Okay. Suddenly there was a cold voice in his ear. It was a woman's voice. Fei slowly opened his heavy eyelids. He was a little puzzled. Who are you? There were also 3 people coming, and it seemed that it was a small group, 2 men and 1 woman. The woman in the middle didn't look so good looking at first glance. It could only be said to be ordinary, but after a second look, if you do this, you will feel that this woman is very good looking, and the two men on the side are not bad in terms of temperament. The three of them should be very old, at least they are the finale among this group of people. Boy, you're quite smart. You can use such a little trick to make these stupid people fight together. You are very good, but that's it. Hand over your enrollment certificates and get out of here quickly. Consider to spare your life. The Soul Master with fiery red hair stared at Ji-Fei viciously, speaking with orders. Little brother, seeing how beautiful you are, how can you deceive others? There is a price to pay. Come on, give your enrollment certificate to sister, and she will let you go. The black-haired name Wei in the middle smiling, his gaze was fixed on Ji-Fei at the same time. What brother, you don't look much older than me. Okay. What's wrong? You want to make trouble? People like you don't have school certificates, do you? Ji-Fei looked around at the three of them. The degree of cohesion is still different from those people in everyone's expression and behavior. So what if you have one? Wouldn't it be nice to have one more? The woman said slowly, so hand it over, there is no harm. Zhu Jiangxing also came up and stood shoulder to shoulder with Ji-Fei. Brother Ji, what should I do? Huo Rao also became more cautious. A trace of soul power began to circulate on the back of her palm. She could release her martial soul and start fighting with just one thought, without any delay. Otherwise, it's obvious that the troublemakers are over. Anyway, it doesn't matter if there is one more certificate or one less certificate. Beat them. Ji-Fei suddenly took 2 steps back, put his eyes on those 3 people again, and said calmly, Ji-Fei, martial soul enemy, 14th level battle soul master. A round of light yellow soul ring slowly emerged from Ji-Fei's body, and in an instant, Izanami's unique attribute with its own illusion was activated, and everything around him was under Ji-Fei's control. Every tiny and delicate movement of the 3 of them could not escape Ji-Fei's eyes. Izanami's martial soul is very special. She is not a possessed beast soul, but actually more of a weapon soul that can generate coercion and control. From the perspective of other people, there is a figure of Gundam standing behind Ji-Fei at this moment. It is the figure of a woman. She doesn't have a specific appearance. She looks like chaos, without facial features, but with all femininity except the facial features. Zhu Jiangxing, Wuhan Zingayujian, 14th level battle soul master. A floating 3-foot sword shadow suddenly appeared above Zhu Jiangxing's head, and a light yellow soul ring was slowly released. Huo Rao, martial soul fire leopard, 14th level battle soul master. Huo Rao's change is the biggest, because it is a beast martial soul, and she has reached the form of possessing herself. Her body has suddenly increased a lot, and she is burning in groups. The raging flames were gradually released from her body, and at the same time a pair of sharp claws appeared, and a light yellow soul ring also surrounded her body. Come on, since people have declared their martial souls, they have made it clear that they want to fight us. What are we still doing? It's true. If you want to get their proof, you need to fight, so let's make a decision first. A target, knock them down. The man on the other side of the woman stared at Ji-Fei and the other 3 who had released their martial spirits, and first froze on Ji-Fei's body for a while, before he realized he looked at the woman on the side. Another man said, then there is no way. Xiaoyu, Wu Hunaiyu, an 18th level battle soul master. Remember, my name is Hulina, Wuhan Yaohu, a 17th level battle soul master. HMPH. You brat. You don't have to drink a toast, Yan, a 17th level battle soul master, a martial soul flame lord. Soul power level so high. Ji-Fei's expression was a little sluggish, but he didn't care about it. His soul power was actually level 24, and he could rely on some special means to crush them, but Ji-Fei also knew that he couldn't do this. I'm afraid it will cause some unnecessary panic. Hulina? Hulina? Why is this name so familiar? Ji-Fei seemed to recall something, but after thinking about it, he seemed to realize that he didn't remember it, and now that he was forced to come up to him, he was still in a daze. That was disrespect to his opponent. The 3 of them lined up. Hulina in the middle and Yan Wuhan on the side should both be beast spirits in a state of possession. Hulina has grown a pair of ears, and a foxtail is swaying behind her. which coincides with what she herself said about the demon fox spirit. Yan on the other side has a pair of long horns on his head, similar to Huarao, with a layer of red flames surging around his body, voicing out every breath, and at the same time, a wave of terrifying power can't help but sweep out. This is a manifestation of very strong soul power. That Ziyu looked evil, she did not know, when she had already clenched her crescent knives tightly in her hands, and the 3 pale yellow soul rings of the 3 were releasing a restless breath. Brother G, what should we do? The opponent's soul power is much higher than ours. I'm afraid we will suffer a lot if we fight recklessly, and the cooperation of these 3 people should be very tacit, right? He is not very afraid. He also notes that these 3 people are here to provoke trouble. It is impossible to avoid and not fight, and the other party may even intensify. Tactics? I don't have this, and the 2 of you are not very familiar with me, especially the use of martial arts is different, so there is no good strategy. I will control them, and Huo harass them, while waiting for the opportunity to act. Brother Zhu, you should attack directly. That's the only way. Zhu Jiangxing nodded. They thought they had escaped from the battle, but now they encountered a more powerful attack, and their soul power was as high as 17 or 18. This is unimaginable at all. End of this chapter. Chapter 75. Your soul power is only level 14. Although you are considered a very powerful existence among this group of people, it is really nothing in our eyes. Hey, I originally wanted to fight them one-on-one, but now I can only fight as a team. 3-on-3 is a fairer battle than 1-on-1. Seeing that the 3 of Jifei seemed to be discussing how to deal with them, Ziyu and Yan smiled at each other, while Hulina in the middle focused on Jifei. Brother, do you feel such a terrifying feeling emanating from that kid named Jifei? The teacher once told me that a person's strength can be observed on the surface. The 2 of them are relatively calm. Hearing Hulina's words, Ziyu on the side also thought about it. Indeed, even he could see through this Jifei, just as their purpose was simply to come and see the strength of this clever guy on a whim. Perhaps it just looks a little special, and the strength is just that. Isn't level easy to grasp? Yan clenched his fists fiercely, and the fists full of flames released powerful strength and unparalleled aura. Anyway, just be careful. I'll control the 3 of them's dizziness at the beginning of the game. As long as I can succeed, then we have won. Hulina stood there and calmly analyzed the battle situation. Wouldn't it be better to go together? Yan was obviously a little confused. If we still have to be so careful when dealing with such a guy, wouldn't it be too embarrassing? Hey, just do what Nana said. It won't hurt to be cautious. Just defeat them. It's not like we don't have something to prove. After entering the Wuhandian Academy, 3 guys like this can say it's a good competitor, and maybe it can motivate us. Jifei on the other side was also extraordinarily calm. He had never really fought with a soul master. Apart from competing with the conflicting soul power in his body, he basically spent the rest of the year in training. Compared with the word growth, he really didn't understand much. In an instant, Jifei brazenly activated the Izanami martial soul, and the bound black lines rushed along the air at a high speed, while Jifei's other hand freed a piece of blue silver grass, which was sadly purple. Jifei was careless, but he didn't take the 3 of them too seriously. No matter how powerful the 3 of them were, they only had one soul skill, and he was using the Izanami martial soul. In it, an Izanami illusion can be released to contain everything. As long as it is in my Izanami illusion, I can change its shape. The range I can use now can be said to be as much as half a square, and those soul masters who are fighting will naturally not exceed it. From their point of view, after all, they have too much to take care of. This added another security guarantee for Jifei to change his martial soul at will. Judging by the division of soul masters, Jifei is undoubtedly a control type soul master among the control type soul masters. Others can control one by one according to the soul ring, but he is different. As long as the soul power is enough, he can control multiple soul masters. Wuhan multiple soul skills control at once. Although the blue silver grass has a 1000-year level spirit ring attached to it, it will probably lose most of its effectiveness in the face of Naoyan's flames, so Jifei will only hide the blue silver grass as a backup, while the deadwood vine turns into other roots and branches are also mixed with the blue silver grass to implement multiple controls. As for the vortex-toothed hyena, Fei didn't intend to use it from the beginning, so he could keep as much as his backhand. After all, he was not desperate. Perhaps it should be said that he simply wanted to try what his fighting power could achieve when he mixed his martial souls. Such layers. On the other side, Hulina was shocked when she saw an endless black mist rushing towards them. She couldn't find the three of them. Scatter. Yan set fire. Ziyu waved the double crescent knives in her hand and directly dodged to the side. The thick black mist in front of her eyes was constantly rushing towards them. Originally, they thought that what Fei released was nothing more than a rope-like soul controlled by her. But I didn't expect the long black line to spread out until it got close to this side, turning into a cloud of hazy mist. He knew that his younger sister Hulina's first soul ability, Inhuo, could be activated only after seeing the enemy's figure, but now the black mist could not detect the opponent's figure at all, and based on his judgment, the other two people of the opponent might have already started. Are you ready to act? Yan's action speed is also very fast. The cooperation of the three of them has been tempered for several years to reach the current level, but it is really good for the three of them to separate if the other part is confusing and obstructive soul skills are released. Question mark? Fire chariot. A huge phantom of fire was instantly ignited in the dense black mist, and the mighty momentum instantly turned into a scalding heat wave and bloomed on the ground. This is Yan's first soul skill, the Chariot of Fire, which can gather himself. His soul power inspires higher level flames. His purpose is very simple, to build a barrier of flames, to block the black mist in front of him, and then launch a further attack. It is difficult for Hulina or Ziyu to act in such a black mist. After all, their soul skills are not within the range sexual attack, and he didn't dare to easily release a large area of flames until he was not sure of the faint location of the target. The Flame Lord martial soul is very special, although it cannot compare with Izanami, but compared to Izanami, it has stronger attack power and flame penetration property, which is not possessed by ordinary flames. Even in the face of water, I'm afraid that the flame of the Flame Lord can be ignited again, and even more vigorously with the help of the oxygen attached to the flow of water. This is the metamorphosis of the penetrating attribute flame, and it is also a place that is difficult for ordinary flames to reach. A wall of fire was temporarily formed, and the originally hazy black mist was temporarily blocked around the wall of fire. Hulina, Ziyu, and Yan glanced at each other. There is no way. This black mist is too weird. It can't penetrate at all, and my Yunghao is not enough to display it on a large scale. Ziyu nodded. No wonder the three of them dared to fight us with spirit powers of level 13 and level. It turns out that among them, they have such perverted spirit skills. For the time being, we have a wall of fire to block them, and they shouldn't charge directly. Not good. What's wrong? Seeing Ziyu's complexion suddenly changed, Yan was a little puzzled. What? Could it be that they can still break through the fire wall I built? My flame with the Fire Lord's penetration property is not an ordinary flame. Even water won't put it out. Have you forgotten that among the three of them there is a girl with a fire leopard spirit? Boom. Before Ziyu's words fell, a sudden change occurred. End of this chapter. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.